You either is or you ain't. You do or you don't. You can or you can't. Or you will or you won't. Either way, baby, a good man, well, he's hard to find. Welcome to the One More for the Good Guys podcast, where good guys gather to shed light on the good life, the people, and the good things that make it that way. I'm Mike McGill with my co-host, Jamie Akins. Now, raise your glass, lend us your ear, and let's have one more for the good guys. You either is or you ain't. You do or you don't. You can or you can't. Or you will or you won't. Either way, baby, a good man, well, he's hard to find. On today's guest episode, we have our friend and soon-to-be yours, Daniel Kimbro. Longtime friend, bandmate, singer-songwriter, and musician for several different projects, including bass player for the Jerry Douglas Band, the Earls of Leicester, and one-third of the original group, Harley, Kimbro, Lewis. Without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Daniel Kimbro. Very cool. Well,
thanks for having me to the
welcome
honky
to the honky tonk. Yeah, man. So the story behind this place was, what in the hell was I going to do with, one terminally ill parent and then another older, elderly parent, and then all the shit broke loose, with COVID and everything. And I was just like, where am I going to quarantine? Okay. And that was my plan. That's why it was built.
Got it.
And also to, dub as a place where I could come, I could listen to music, I could play my guitars, I could, I could smoke cigars, I can watch a ball game.
Yeah, totally.
Fuck off,
The
really I don't get a lot of that time.
Man cave comes to mind.
Yes. But
I don't know why they were called that. I find that.
I don't either. I think it's I think if you ever say that again while you're here.
Yeah, it's a douchebag term.
I may
douchebag term.
I may air the original podcast, Mike McGill Kill Your Neighbor podcast. Right. So
shoot your neighbor.
Shoot your neighbor, kill him, what the fuck ever. Screwdriver.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll love this. So the other day, it was around August 18th. It was my birthday. It was the day of my birthday. My mom calls me like at 2:30 in the morning, and I'm just thinking, that's kind of what I'm waiting for. You know what I mean? Like, something's wrong. Not
when you see that
totally
name
bad,
on your phone, you're bracing yourself.
Yeah,
I get it.
And she calls me up and she's like, hey, the toilet won't flush.
That's definitely
after.
Yeah, that's a 2:30 problem.
After I, after I'm like, just tell me if something's wrong.
Yeah, sure.
There was, a good 90-second, monologue leading up to it. So at any rate, I get over there. I'm pumping with the plunger and all that shit, and trying to do everything, going outside, checking.
So this is the night before I saw you for your birthday at Trailhead, or this is the night of?
This was like 2:30 in the morning on my birthday.
After you'd already shut it down at Trailhead.
No.
Oh, before.
Oh, I see.
On my actual birthday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, so I go over there, and
I guess that's better than following evening.
Yes.
And you were off
for
that
for
night,
listener
so
context.
that's the
We all
only
got
good
together
part.
and celebrated Mike's birthday at the Trailhead.
Yeah.
That's right.
In South Knoxville.
Yeah.
Had a little picking.
Later that night.
Right. Got it. Now I'm all caught up. Sorry.
So no worries. No. And so I get over to Home Depot. I just tell Mom, I'm like, by this time it's like 4:00 in the morning. Home Depot opens at 6. Fuck it. I'm going to stay up. Just go. I'm going to get a toilet auger and a new plunger. And, I'm going to go drop $100.
Sure.
And try to get this dealt with. So 6:01, I'm walking through the door at Home Depot. 6:11, I'm back coming to the cash register with my stuff.
Sure.
I got a 6-foot toilet auger in one hand and a big giant magic double black kung fu chopper plunger in the other.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. I mean,
I think that's now called the Home Depot birthday combo.
So I walk up to the cash register and the lady goes, "How's your morning going so far?" And I just raised them both up and I went, "Pretty shitty."
Very good. Very good.
Oh my God. She started dying laughing. Then she felt bad for laughing because I was deadpanning the hell out of her.
Sure.
The death
Letting her waller.
Yeah, totally.
Exactly the right.
Fuck off. You're So, any rate, got back here, got all that stuff. Finally, what I thought was going to be taken care of was not taken care of. Had to call a plumber and all that shit in the next 2 days. And any rate, but I made up for it with all of the good folks and guests such as yourself at the trailhead that night. So it was a really good day.
Sort of just randomly fortuitous. I have been out of town a lot, and my Mrs. Tiffany and I were at the Landing House up the street having some dinner, and Greg Horn came up the steps. We were sat outside, and Greg, hey man, hey, when you guys are done here, he was picking up some to-go food, and he said, "You should come down to Trailhead." And I said, "Oh, are you playing?" He says, "Well, yeah, but it's McGill's birthday." I'm like, "Oh, right," because I think I'd seen maybe a Facebook post or something.
Yeah, probably.
But it was really cool. Really
yeah
cool. And thanks for asking me to play.
Oh shit, man. I'm always calling you, and
yeah,
you're busy, and are these on?
They're on.
Oh, Kimbro, how I've missed you.
Sure.
37 people's been on this podcast.
Is that right? Is that a real number?
Oh yeah,
37.
Yeah.
Well, it took you.
And
I'm 38.
You're the only one that. yeah. Hang on, Lucy.
Oh yes. I think 38 Special and Molly Hatchet were the pioneers of whistling during a guitar solo. And it made the record. Hannah and I always laugh about that. Yeah.
I did not know that.
You know, you always hear that it's kind of a joke, but you hear the little whistle, like the fired up whistle during a guitar solo. It's so weird. Yeah. Anyway, non sequitur.
Well, I don't know. I think I've heard folks say that 38 Special and Molly Hatchet was the death of Southern rock.
Really?
Have you heard that?
No, I've never heard that.
Yeah, I've heard it.
What about their thing puts them in that category?
They're just Southern rock fucking killers. Evidently. We've got a podcast.
Okay.
No, I don't know. I guess maybe it's it's like their other bands light, or
the
poor man's
I get it.
Skinner, or the poor man's BTO or whatever, or not BTO, but
I got you. I don't know, man. Like there's room for everybody.
Yeah.
Like I think a lot of people think that not liking something is the same thing as having an opinion. That's not true.
No.
It's lazy.
No. Yeah. That's well put. That's actually, it's surprising coming from somebody. I mean,
Thank you.
Any rate, yeah, man. So I don't know why. I never had a problem with those bands. We did a thing with Foghat, Mickey Thomas, and Starship.
Oh wow!
And that motherfucker looked like Dudley Moore after taxes. And he came out there and stepped up and sang "Fooled Around and Fell in Love" by Elvin Bishop, like the fucking record.
Cool.
Same key, same everything. Busted it, man. He was like 4'11".
I like it when the so-called has-been cats.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah,
that makes me very happy.
Yeah,
What did you think that they just suddenly forgot how to do their thing?
Yeah,
it's like no, they're killers.
Yeah,
and everybody that is in this this music game who has been doing it for any length of time with any modicum of success, everyone has a killer switch.
Yeah.
And it's an acting gig, and they flip that switch and they go into assassin mode. And I love watching that happen. You know, it happens in bluegrass, it happens in rock and roll, it happens in every genre.
It happens
So cool.
with professionals, for sure, because it's just a flip of the switch, and it's. I mean, one could say the same thing about athletes.
For sure.
Any professional professional sense. I mean, it's a job, but it's an art.
For sure.
And
especially
they've played their ass off and practiced.
A closing pitcher, I know how big a baseball.
Yeah, sure.
That is a whole mentality, man. It's a whole thing.
Yeah, Mariano Rivera.
Yeah,
and
the greatest ever.
Who did I pick? John Franco, left-hander. He was the most winning left-handed closer.
Cool.
We did a top 10 or I don't know what we'll call it. Best of top 10. Who knows? But so you had to start your baseball roster out after 1970.
Oh,
so
wow.
Anything from 70 on. But
Dude.
You could pick your team, but it actually had to be
a fantasy team, but it crosses all these years.
Yeah,
but you had to pick them by position. You couldn't just pick a
they had to be position players.
DH,
Yeah, I got
or
you.
vice versa.
That's kind of what I mean by the fantasy style. Yeah. You know who would love that, I think, would be Todd Steed.
I would really love to hang out with him. I just don't know him.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen a few of his shows.
Yeah.
We've shook hands. We've said hello, and
kind, hilarious person.
We've shared a couple of baseball things over Facebook and stuff.
I think you and he and Tony Lawson, maybe Chuck Brodsky, are the baseball fans I've encountered that are just eat up with all aspects of it, the whole romance of it. I think that's very cool.
That's
my brother
that we
Corey
have
is
in
that
common.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's cool. My brother Corey is that way to a little lesser extent, but yeah, it's cool.
No, it's really cool. I mean, I look back and for everybody that's only listening, there's, all these hats are places I've been and gotten souvenirs from. And, and check this one out. This new one.
Yeah.
Kimbro, Harley, and
Harley
Kimbro Lewis.
It's funny. We just,
sorry.
It's okay. Our PBS taping for the Caverns just dropped this weekend. And if I or Sam or Martin, because at this stage of the ball game, he says pretentiously, we're doing all of our own advancing for gigs and press and all that kind of stuff, right?
Okay.
And so it's been very deliberate that it's not a law firm. It's not Harley Kimbro and Lewis. We want to introduce Harley Kimbro Lewis. And so, of course, we get the video back, and it's...
Don't bore us. Get to the chorus.
Yeah, exactly. As soon as it fires up, it's all the copy is Harley Kimbro Lewis, but then on the screen and the announcer says Harley Kimbro and Lewis. And I'm just okay, it doesn't matter. This is a first world problem. No one cares about your branding, Daniel. It's not a big deal. But you do hope that certain folks will put the same... Exactly. It's just about attention to detail.
And you're putting the effort in.
It's the reason that the green M&Ms on the rider thing.
Hey, listen, man, you can be half-ass here, you can be half-ass out there.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? I tell people that all the time.
Absolutely, yeah. That's a good one.
It's you can have whatever you want, people would... especially during the early days of booking stuff and handling, just like you're saying, you're handling.
Oh yeah,
you're wearing all the hats,
all of them.
And
good tie-in, by the way. All the hats.
Yeah, there you go.
You said for the people that are just listening, are we videoing this also?
We're not as of now.
Got it, but it will be happening.
I hope so.
We've got the equipment and stuff to do it. I
think we could get enough.
It's definitely a visually interesting space.
I think we could get some good angles with the cameras and stuff.
And when we first started, it wasn't nearly this finished either. So
when I called you telling you that I was liking your albums and it was 1 o'clock in the morning, it's the middle of winter time, and I'm listening to fucking Dreamland Hawaii stuff.
Uh-huh.
the traditional Hawaiian music
is
very melodic and country based.
Very much so.
And I know the first year I went over to Kauai, I would listen to KKCR. I'd listen to they would do nothing but classic Hawaiian music after like 10 o'clock. So I had always in the bunkhouse, man, and we're jungle side. So it's just mountains and waterfalls and shit everywhere. And,
was this at Matt Morlock's place?
This was at my buddy Bob's.
Oh, okay.
Bob with 1 O for everybody that wants to know. That's right.
Bob with 1 O.
Captain Bob. So, any rate, I was here, and at that time, this was just insulated.
Okay.
And subfloor.
Oh,
so there was no,
no sheetrock. No.
For a long time, it was like that. My number one goal was to get it built and in the dry, as quickly as I could. And once I did that, then, the next biggest drive to do would be, get it winterized, get it insulated and all that stuff. So
cool.
Yeah, it's just come along.
Well, for the listener, it's a very cool space.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I like it. We've got all the Christmas. Well, I've got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I've got 6 through 10 of the
Christmas show,
Christmas spectacular posters.
Oh, right.
And I can't find the first 5. I know I've got them somewhere. All my shit's been so spread out.
Right.
And and that was another thing. It was just like trying to get all your shit in one space, man.
Oh my gosh.
Holy cow. And I've like purged 136 times.
I was talking to another Knoxville musician friend, Andy Wood. He and I had coffee today, and he's about to move house. And it's just...
How's Andy?
Andy's doing great.
Good.
That guy is a killer.
Yeah, he's a total killer.
And he's a real sweet cat. And, I've been working with him at his guitar camp, and we were just making some future plans and spouting ideas. And anyway, he's about to move house. And I was just remembering, because Tiffany and I and the kids moved, it'll be 3 years. It is 3 years ago. 3 years ago, Labor Day. And it still feels, those wounds are still fresh. We lived in the previous house 14 years, and it's traumatic.
It's PTSD.
No kidding. That's exactly what it is.
That and divorce are the 2 most stressful things you'll go through in your life.
Mm.
Oh my God.
Oh,
shit just got real.
Yeah. Moving sucks.
Word.
Yeah.
New shit has come to light, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, well. Yeah, it is very traumatic coming into a new place, I carried a bunch of this stuff around forever, and didn't have any place to put it. And then I'd have a few places, and when I got back here, I was just like, man, I gotta have somewhere to put all my shit.
Or at least some of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you have more than this, but this isn't insane, man. This is nice. This is cool. Yeah. It doesn't feel cluttered,
Awesome. Well, that's good to know.
I was admiring the picture of you and MD. That's Mark David Kirkpatrick, for those of you listening, a dear friend of both of ours. And because as soon as anyone says, "Oh, I'm building a honky tonk or an outbuilding," I always think of his honky tonk.
Oh, absolutely. That was
the now raised Log Haven,
the mother church.
That was the mother. That's right. I didn't know you as well, and I'd known Red and MD, and I remember being back there.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Some evening, some weekend evening in the wintertime when we go to Log Haven, sort of throw down, and it was really, really cool.
Those are good times,
for sure. Oh well, you and me and MD were singing Ralph Stanley tunes at the top of our lungs.
Yeah,
it was great.
Yeah. And then it got real late, and MD started singing Charlie Rich.
That's right. That's right.
It's a good night in the honky tonk.
That's right. Yeah, many Pabst comes on, consumed, and maybe even some of the white corn made its way around.
Oh, I'm sure it did. MD's here a bunch, man.
Yeah,
and the Visit Scenic mascot sign.
That's lovely.
And of course the Jimmy Martin.
I love it.
Run Pete Run Whirly gig. That was that's the That's the Peace d'Estrance. Or, Peace La... Man, that gummy.
Did you get a gummy before I came?
It did, and it tasted like transmission fluid. So it's really...
That's the most mascot shit I've ever heard.
Yeah, man. Boat dog gas. You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And I'm digging it. Just so you know.
Gas. Oh,
yeah,
man.
for you all that's not caught up, that's higher than boat dog gas. I had a 25 milligram.
25?
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
I would be in the hospital.
Hey, man, come on. Let's see the devil. Ain't scared of that shit.
Oh, cool.
Any rate, so Daniel, for those of you who don't know, plays with Harley, Kimbro, and Lewis.
No and.
Fuck. You're so particular, and it's really annoying.
Yeah. Well, you can either be half-assed in here, or you can be half-assed out there.
See, he's been listening. That's good. That's a good thing. Oh, man. That's 1 for Kimbro, 0 for McGill. But yes, so now you guys did a Christmas, or not a Christmas, but you were doing something after the Christmas show. Was it your CD release at the Bijou, right?
That's right.
And then you guys have been touring.
We did a UK tour
right.
in 2022, and then we did a US tour in 2023, simply because it just, with all of our schedules, that was when the next hole was. There's sort of there's sort of an accidental dead period for all of us in our normal schedules. That'd be Sam Lewis, who's a songwriter who lives in Nashville, and Martin Harley, who's a songwriter and slide guitar player who lives outside of London. Anyway, our collective schedules sort of align nicely in like late February, early March. And
they are also, I might add,
yes,
masterminds of espionage.
That's true. They
Those
are.
two.
But we don't talk about that.
I don't trust them for a second.
No, well, nor should you. So yeah, it turned out that it was like, okay, well, we have a booking agent for the UK, so we'll do that and see how it goes. It was very well received, and then it's very inexpensive, relatively, for Sam and I to go tour in the UK, because the visa situation is really simple for Americans. There's a simple fee that you pay for your certificate of service, is what it's called. But for Martin, it's thousands of, it's like $5 or $6 grand
to get over here,
to get an O1 visa for him. And there's an interview. It's a whole situation. It's kind of not fair. It's not kind of not fair. It ain't fair.
He's white, for God's sake.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, you would think.
And for those of you, fuck off. That's just the fact that, we normally have it easier.
Yes, that's right.
With some of those things.
Yes, you are acknowledging the
I'm not being ugly or racist when I say that. It's also a joke. I say it's a joke, but only smaller.
So yeah, but Martin and Sam and I have made an effort, and it's a funky, folky trio. Martin and I have made 2 records previously together, and Sam and I have played live a lot together. But Sam actually introduced Martin to me at Jammin' at Hippie Jack's festival.
Yeah, the first time I ever heard Martin was with Sam.
That's right. Yep.
At Hippie Jack.
That's right. Yep.
I think I'd seen him a year. I'd seen him maybe a year before. I think
that they came through.
And that could have been also when they were doing 2 a year, so it could have been.
That's right.
At the halfway point, or whatever, the Memorial Day.
Yeah, they did a Memorial Day festival in the fall. That was not Labor Day, but maybe a little bit after. Maybe it was Labor Day. I don't remember. Anyway, Jammin' at Hippie Jack's was a cool festival, and that's actually how I got to know a lot of people. That I sort of would meet maybe when I worked at WDVX, or I knew you and some other cats in town. But anyway, that was a nice community building festival that sort of spanned a lot of the East Nashville folks and the Knoxville folks.
Yeah, and we were meeting a lot of folks, for the first time, but also meeting them in the wild, if you will.
Yeah. something about that space that at Hippie Jack's was very. You just felt like you could be yourself. You didn't feel like you had to be.
Yeah.
On, for lack of a better way to say it. But anyway, so Sam introduced and said, "You guys should play together." And then there were a couple of tours where Sam would come over like on the day before I would fly home. So Sam would be kicking off his like solo UK tour while Martin and I just finished our duo tour for like a month. And we would go to a pub or whatever, and then we would just fart around on guitars and stuff, and it'd be really fun to be doing some trio stuff together. And so that's basically just how it all, the idea of it all came together. And then, so we booked some studio time in East Nashville at our dear friend Joe McMahon's studio. And we made the first half of the record, and that was in the fall, about this time of year of 2019. And we scheduled the next session, and Martin has bought his plane tickets for April of 2020. So needless to say, those sessions did not occur. And what we ended up doing was some sort of 6 feet apart recording of me and Sam in Nashville, and Martin did his recording in Wales. And we sent tracks back and forth, and the time zones kind of worked in our favor. He was like 6 hours ahead of us. So when we would get to the studio, he had sent his things that he had laid up, had overdubbed on our tunes from the night before. And he would also have the new things that he had come up with. And then so we would just had this nice sort of, pardon the pun, but exchange rate that went back and forth.
Right.
And anyway, it's been a real slow motion kind of thing because we've had
but
you got logistical challenges of the Atlantic Ocean being between us and Martin. But it's been very fun and rewarding. It's an opportunity for me, primarily as an accompanist, to sort of stand in the middle of the stage and sing more of my own songs and that kind of thing. And that's been
it's
very
baseball,
rewarding.
Man. You get to turn it to play.
That's right.
Who don't like to hit one?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
They need to. It needs to be slow pitch softball for me. But yeah,
hey man, it's yours. You're hitting it to them. So
that's right. That's
fuck them. They get grounders. They get pop flies. It's batting practice. It's fielding practice.
Absolutely. Right.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying that we're analogizing baseball as much as we are. It's great.
Well, I mean, no need in starting to talk differently now, just because we got microphones in front of our face. So you just played the Caverns, as well, right?
Yeah. So the night before we played here at the Bijou, we taped that show. No, those are really interesting shows. I've done a few different TV things.
Oh, really? You taped it then?
Taped it then.
I got
It's a whole production.
Yeah. So it's just came out.
That's right.
That's
That's
where I was getting the mistake.
It's the same as Austin City Limits or any of these other kinds of things where they sold the tickets for the live taping, and there's like 5 acts on each day. So they're knocking out a whole season in like a weekend.
Wow.
And so, the stage manager and producer people come on stage and sort of warm the audience up, and they collect shots and applauses at different levels, and these are just for coverage so that they have it. If something goes wrong and they don't have enough space after a song to edit, they can cut to the audience still applauding, though they may have taped that before. So they're like, okay, on the count of 3, we need your level 1 applause. And they would move people around the room to make sure the room looked a certain way. It's like, if you're a number 5, this was really interesting. You were assigned a number 1, 2, or 3. And this was for the standing ovation. And it was, if you're a number 1, you leap to your feet. If you're a number 2, you watch your number 1 and you leap 3 seconds or just count to 3. And then you jump up. And of course, everybody counts at different rates. And then if you're a number 3, you watch your number 2 and then you go up. And so it ends up looking really, really authentic.
Yeah.
And so they tape like 3 different standing ovations.
Those motherfuckers.
That's right.
That's why they got you in that fucking cave.
That's right.
That's why. Yeah, some Batman shit going on.
Yes, that's right. That's right. So we taped that, and it aired this weekend. And as of now, we're taping this conversation on, what is today, the 26th of September. So yeah, it was 20.
That is correct.
23rd or 4th or something like that. So
and where's it airing at?
PBS.
Okay.
PBS, like I mentioned that I worked at WDVX, which is a nonprofit radio station in Knoxville. And we would produce syndicated content. And you upload that content to various online places that aggregate, or collate, I should say, and even curate different shows and present them to different PBS or myriad other TV networks, and they can purchase those episodes. It's the same way that NPR might do it with, Splendid Table or something like that.
Right.
Or
Gotcha.
Car Talk, like whatever.
Yeah.
Anybody can buy these things, but they do give discounted rates, I think, for public broadcasting services. I could be talking out of my ass here, but I'm pretty sure that I remember that's how it goes. So anyway.
Do I get a discount with the Geico?
Yeah, exactly. So it aired all across Tennessee. But you can also stream it on PBS.com. I think they archive all the episodes.
Okay, great.
Season 3, Episode 1 of The Caverns, which, and by the way, for context, The Caverns used to be called Bluegrass Underground.
Right.
They rebranded and changed.
So it's the same.
Same folks, but they moved locations. They actually bought their own property that had a cave on site. And it's now, that's
of
all
course
it is,
they did.
is a music venue. Well, they had some logistical issues, and
sure,
not the least of which was water infiltration at the other cave. So
it's good with electricity.
Yeah, totally. So it was a really interesting experience. yeah, exactly. It is a thing, man. You know, a lot of people, and you guys know this because you're musicians, but people are like, "Oh my God, I bet the acoustics were incredible." And people who aren't in the biz sort of assume that if something is echoey and large, it's a good thing. And it's like, well, it's good if you're standing by yourself and no one is making any sound and you get to hear yourself back. But whenever you want to hear the accurate representation of what someone sounds like, it's not so great. And in any kind of TV or radio thing is unnerving in that way because you're hoping that the energy that you're putting into the room that you're in is somehow translating to the recording that they're making. And it's this fear that is pretty existential and deep is exacerbated by the cavern thing, because it's like, wow, everything just sounds kind of mushy and cool, and the audience is going nuts, but they were also told to go nuts, so I don't know. And but the feedback that we've received from people watching and listening has been very
So what do they do to mitigate that? Do they close mic everybody?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's direct boxes and it's DIs. They do close mic, and they're running 2 or 3 different computers redundantly with Pro Tools going, so they're multi-tracking.
Oh shit!
So they're multi-tracking video and audio, and they'll sync it up and post.
I wonder if they're running mics and recording mics out of phase so they can like dip some.
I'm sure that they do. And the house, I do know from my own experience, being an audio engineer person in my past lives, that the crew really had it together. Like they were clearly there to make sure it sounded as good as possible.
Well, they know the room
exactly.
Yeah.
So that was a
still
nice
sound
thing.
Feels like a
it does
audio,
but it was
nightmare.
not. I mean, it was high quality, PA gear, of course. Like something you would encounter at a top tier festival. It was very good.
And you're not recording 38 special either.
That is the thing. That's something that definitely
shit,
a lot like our friends in Watch
You
House.
didn't kill Southern Rock.
That's right. Well, not on, yeah.
Yeah, 38 Special did that.
Yeah, exactly.
For everybody
I know
that
both
just
of their
caught
songs.
up with it. I don't know.
Yeah,
I am teasing.
It does help that we were a more or less acoustic trio.
Yeah.
And a lot of people do sort of pare down to do that show for those reasons.
I'm
Keeping
sure they
stage volume
would.
low is fairly important. But that was a cool thing. And so it's been fun for the 3 of us, Martin, Harley, Sam Lewis, and myself. It's been fun for us to try to shoehorn this trio stuff in between all of our other musical obligations. Martin and Sam both have solo careers.
Yeah,
and I
sure.
make a living as an accompanist, primarily as an upright bass player. So it's nice to have this, and it was always supposed to be fun. And our songs were, often tongue in cheek, and it's just we kind of are going to do it.
They're good, man. There's a good little mix between you three because you three guys, you're definitely very different cats.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a little bit of the uniqueness of it is that everybody's got a voice and it gets clearly heard.
Thanks. That was deliberate. I appreciate.
And
I appreciate that's coming across.
And it also it jives well, you know.
Thank
I mean, when I was over here, with it being just insulation and all that kind of stuff, it was that's when I was listening to you piss that turtle off and you've had it. I was listening to a lot of really new stuff at that point in time, and your guys' stuff was out, and I was here, and I dug it.
Thank you.
That's why I sent you.
Yeah, I remember
I sent you that
me.
text.
We have gotten a lot of really affirming messages like that from people whose opinions we respect, and that's what you want, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Respect from your peers is always
it's a positive. It's a good thing
for sure.
I was listening to a lot of new stuff, man. I've went head over heels for this group out of Austin, Mike and the Moon Pies.
Oh, they're great.
Holy shit. Their arrangements are fucking
really cool.
Atari Spaceman.
Totally.
Glenn Campbell shit.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
It's really, really,
it is very
really
Glenn
good.
Campbell. That's well said. I had
and I fucking dug
one
it.
Time. Killer.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Where did you mix them
at? WDVX.
Okay.
Yeah, they did a Blue Plate special. Yeah.
I probably was, I didn't know about them.
Super cool.
Maybe.
I think
Brandon Fulson turned me on to
Oh, cool. I think Red put me on.
Yeah.
I really dug it. And they were nice cats, too. So.
Yeah. I guess evidently they'd been kind of running a house show at some bar for like 10 or 11 years,
in Texas.
So they were,
cool.
So they were tight.
Yeah.
You know, they had played together and knew what was going on. But I fell in love with those guys and listened to a ton of that. Ton of your guys' stuff. Girl named Bella White.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
really good.
Man. Just Unwanted. Holy shit. If y'all guys ain't ever heard that song.
Yeah, it's good.
Man, just tremendous. Who was some of the other ones I was listening to? Culture Wall.
Uh-huh.
I love Cowpoke.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ Almighty! I just want to start.
Somebody
not neighbors
put me on Culture Wall. It's cool.
There's got a lot of so much presence.
Stuff, like there's a lot of really, really great music out there.
Him in particular. There was, and that could be done in
I don't
studio
think so.
stuff, but I don't think it was. He just had this presence.
It
reminded me of when people were just fucking fearless.
Yeah, exactly. And that's
some of the ones we love so much in honky tonk settings.
Totally. I was just going to say, you mentioned the studio thing. I find that a lot of editing or sweetening in the studio tends to remove a lot of those presence things.
Yeah.
You take away character a lot of times as opposed to installing character. That's not something you can.
Drum machines have no soul.
Unless Peter Gabriel has programmed them. I agree with you.
Sledgehammer.
Exactly.
I want to know.
But, that does kind of bring up a thing with music, which has been my life's work. And that's like when I encounter people, I mentioned that not liking something isn't quite the same thing as having an opinion. When I encounter folks that are adamant that there's no good music being made anymore, I'm just like, you're lazy. You're not looking hard enough. And that's not a judgment. It's an observation.
It's accurate.
Looking hard
is what it is. It's accurate.
And I also understand because it's not like you're going to get top 40 radio these days.
Well,
it's not
listen,
the same thing, but you can go find the great shit wherever it is.
I heard a great one yesterday that, and I can't remember who it was from. I was listening to some podcast, but no input, no output.
Yeah.
That was one that I heard, and I was just like, yeah, so that means you got to try.
That's right.
To listen.
That's right.
And try to figure stuff out. And, I really, really man, when this place was just insulation,
Mhm.
I listened to all that stuff I was talking about and
cool.
hearing such familiar things, but new.
Yeah.
And it was really eye opening for me.
I think that is the
and it
goal.
gave me a spark, man.
Yeah.
Gave me some fucking fire about my ass.
That's why you want to put your thing out there, because if you do your thing authentically and you do it well,
it'll stand the test of time.
Ideally, it inspires other folks to do their thing, and it becomes a cycle, and you feed off of them and they of you. I had a train of thought there. You were talking about input and output and listening in here, and you felt a spark off of it. And, it'll come back to me, but I think that's a great thing.
Lazy.
Well, and to your point
and
about
listening.
lazy, and we talked about this the other day. We did a top 10, if you will, about music, or we started one. It's never been easy.
What was our top 10 musical influences?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We got through about 5, I think, but it's
if
never
we're
been
lucky.
easy
I think it was like 3.5.
to listen to everything.
Yeah.
Because when we were growing up, it was radio, or you went to Cats and you bought a record.
Yeah.
You know, and now I can access anybody I want instantly.
Yeah.
So it's really lazy now.
Well, that's true, but to just pigeonhole everything and say that everything is shit is also lazy.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Gotcha.
Is that
that's exactly. Yeah.
Gotcha.
You have access to so much music now. If you're not, there's no good music out there. You're not looking for it.
That's right.
And because you can find it instantly.
And it doesn't have to be all things to all people. It's okay for you to like something different than someone else.
And dude, we were going from all kinds of different shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I might have had Doyle Lawson and Quicksilver in this cassette player, but I also might have fucking Huey Lewis in the cassette player.
Absolutely. That's so important.
Or
38 Special.
I never.
Oh.
No, man, come on. But at any rate, it was just a wide variety of stuff. You know?
And I was sort of remember what I was thinking about when you said, "This is familiar but new," and that's the whole idea.
Yeah,
that's the whole goal. Is that you don't need to honor your influences for the sake of honoring your influences. You need to honor them for the sake of your own process. And that's how you become yourself. We said a second ago, I had this conversation with a good friend of mine who lives in Toronto yesterday. She's an incredible flute player. And we were talking about how music is an acting gig, and that's what you do when you
flautist.
She's a flautist. But when you're taking a solo, when I'm taking a solo with the Jerry Douglas Band versus when I'm taking a bass solo with the Earls of Leicester, for example, like those are very, very different characters that I'm playing.
Oh, absolutely.
And if I'm going to go to Trailhead and you ask me to play a song on your acoustic guitar unaccompanied at nighttime on a patio in South Knoxville, that's a different character that I'm playing.
Absolutely.
And those characters are informed by, of course, your influences.
Yeah.
But you don't go to the movies and expect so-and-so to play a character. A better analogy would be you don't go to the theater and expect someone to play Atticus Finch. You don't expect Jeff Daniels to play Atticus Finch the way that Gregory Peck did, for example.
Right.
So anyway, there are so many supposed rules about how music is supposed to work. And I find myself, the older that I get, the less time I have for that. Because all that is a procrastination. It's just a procrastination from you doing the thing that you really want to do.
Who likes rules?
Well, not yet.
I mean, just the breaking it down into
guidelines are fine. Guidelines can help you be creative. It's fun to think inside a box. And then where can I put one toe outside the box? And that's exactly the process that we tried to follow with like the Harley Kimbro Lewis thing, for example. It needs to be folky and bluesy, but we're going to fuck it up somehow. And so, ideally those are personal things that come through, I guess. I don't know. I hope that doesn't sound braggadocious. That's not the intent here. It's just
Hey man, just
With
tell them. Don't judge me.
No.
I'm trying. We're trying new things tonight.
Okay.
Yeah. So you gotta
these
tell
are the
'em.
conversations these are the kind of conversation that we three are having right now are the exact same conversations I have with every musician that I work with.
Oh, of course.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, everybody's just looking for permission to be their authentic self, or at minimum to go look for that person. And that happens in uninsulated cabins, and it happens in finished out or just insulated cabins. And it hits you at the strangest times sometimes.
That's and I like it like that.
Me too.
It
should be that way. The muse should be that way.
Fucking A.
Yeah.
Where I used to love. I mean, I could drive from here to fucking Kansas City, never take any speed, have a thermos of coffee, what the fuck ever, and an AM radio dial.
Oh yeah,
because it was something new.
Yeah,
every so many miles. Another 37 miles. And that one's fading out, and this one's coming in.
Right.
And it may be anything from the top of the ninth, 2 outs.
Yeah.
Here, it could be a ball game. It could have been,
it's like a slow motion channel surf that you don't have the remote control.
Yeah. And I miss that about how we got our music at one time. Because it was a surprise.
I think that
and you didn't.
That's why
to
vinyl
those.
is so popular again, because people get together and now it's a community listening experience again. And you flip the side, and then it's someone else's turn. And it's a real,
you flip it or skip it.
Exactly.
You don't. There's no other.
And then
there's no other one you do.
You might pick one album, and then I pick something contrast, or that has a similar vibe, but it goes just slightly tangential to it. It's a very cool thing. I think people are after that experience. Is what I'm trying to say.
I think so. I think everybody wants to be the DJ at some point.
Yeah. Totally.
Again, with the baseball thing, it's a shot at the plate.
Yeah.
I got a chance to hit one.
Yeah, exactly.
I might hit this sumbitch out of the planet. Yeah. Or I can't strike out. But I got to go down swinging.
Yeah.
So
swinging.
And
don't even start.
And people too are starved for community.
Oh,
that's
shit.
And authenticity. And when you get, when you get that people together like that, and I don't know what the hell you're going to play, but when you start it,
it makes people listen too.
Yeah, and certainly post COVID, when everybody was isolated and everything. Now, I guess that's one of the good things from COVID is that being isolated, you realize how much community you need. And, just like this, and you talking about collaborating and listening with other musicians and whatever. I think people are starved for authenticity of any type.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, that is one of the drawbacks of the availability of everything, is that it can be hard to identify the real authentic thing, because oftentimes the thing that is pushed to you on whatever, for example, streaming platform, are the folks that have whatever industry push behind them. And so that can be something that the whole reason that it has an industry push behind it is because certain folks in the industry have said it needs to be this kind of thing so that we can push it, which tends to water a lot of the authentic down. And that's kind of problematic. I think that's,
but it's always been that way, though.
It's always been that way. And that's what I mean by lazy. It's like, but that's just because you're on the surface level. Like, you can look for a different YouTube channel, look for a different Spotify playlist,
The only, this doesn't really have anything to do with, I mean, I guess it does have a little bit to do with that, but grab me, I'll put that back down there for you. Grab me one of those whatevers.
Thank you.
The only thing I worry about with today, with a lot of things like that, is worry about people, and I worry about this not just because of somebody's good fortune or good luck or whatever, comes with what I'm getting ready to say, but man, we champion so many people overnight.
That's true.
And it drives me crazy. Because, and here's my biggest concern and my biggest reason that I don't like it is because it's so unfair to that person. I remember when Darryl Strawberry first came up, right?
Yeah.
Darryl Strawberry with the Mets came up in their farm system. He was, oh man, sweet swinging lefty.
Yeah.
You pitched it low and inside, it was going to fly with Eastern and 747 wrote on the side of it. Because Strawberry would hit it a fucking ton.
That's right.
But I remember when he first came up, you know, they were like, this guy's the black Ted Williams.
Wow. No pressure.
How unfucking fair was that? Yeah, I like cocaine.
Yeah.
And we just won a World Series in 86. You know, fuck it.
Yeah.
I'll take a chance.
I don't know why.
And we got a lot of that so going on. I think
it's the internet thing again.
I think it is a little bit. I think
it's kind of what you're talking about. You want people not only are starved for authenticity, but they want to be one of the people who discovers it.
Yeah.
And so
that's good.
The posting kind of social media aspect of it is you want to be in the clubhouse and you want to know through the internet's feedback loop that your opinion matters. And so
everybody wants to be right.
Yeah. And so
everybody wants to be right.
So that's like people glom on and they don't know that they are and it's not intentional, you know, and they think that they're championing someone and that's
and things aren't always what they seem.
Yeah.
Brother.
I mean, it's a
now
thing.
such is life.
Such is life. It's always been weird. It's always been weird.
But it really
achieve notoriety.
It's really fucking bothering me these days, and I don't know. Again,
I think it's a healthy bother. If it's bothering you because you worry about someone's mental health, that's a good thing. If it's bothering you because you're like, well, why don't they do that for me? That's a problem that you suss out.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that, and that's and with the one instance of that and bringing mental health into it, as well as like what pressures that puts on everyone. You got this guy, the redheaded guy, that's doing all the rich men from Richmond and all that stuff.
Howard Childers.
No, not him. It's the other guy.
The other guy.
The new guy.
Oh.
Like got 11 million hits in one fucking night.
Oh, wow.
And now they're wanting him to.
His name is Chris something, but he's got a stage name.
Okay.
Oliver something.
Oliver something. Yeah.
Fascinating. I don't know this person. You said redhead, and I assumed sort of folk adjacent music, and so.
It's kind of funny because he's very Appalachian, and he was Oliver Anthony.
That's it.
Is that it?
Okay.
Any rate, people are losing their fucking minds over this guy, and when I read, and I'm going off on a little bit of just because I've needed someone.
It's your honky tonk
sensible. Man. Well, I've been needing somebody sensible to talk this out with a little bit.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Well, I mean, I was talking about Jamie, but
sure.
cocksucker.
Mike won.
Tied up.
Okay.
Any rate, no, honest to goodness, but this guy gets 11 million views pretty much overnight, and he's written a song that's.
It's a good song.
It's a good song. It's a fine song. It's a fine song. And it's almost two different songs, but his hook and everything is rich men north of Richmond.
Okay.
Okay, so it's a pretty little good play.
Yeah.
And it's clever. Yeah, as he goes with his thing with it on the first verse. Now again, we're talking about the masses here.
Sure.
11 million.
I get it.
Some bitches that want to drink Kool-Aid too.
Yes.
But I wasn't so much worried about even interested in their performance. I don't mean this to sound bad, but I've already heard better than you. I've heard better than me.
Yeah.
I've heard better than him.
Yeah.
You know, because
we all have
the hero. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's somebody on YouTube that does what you do, level 1,000.
Yeah.
You know, it's a good time for humility.
Yes. Yes. Very well said. So, but I read the thing, you know, I'm reading them because I like, when I write something, I like to be able to read it back and it makes sense to me. That's the way I write.
Okay.
On a majority of the stuff that I write. The other stuff, you know, there's other stuff that's made up and different things that you take liberties and, you know, cheeky or whatever with. But just... man, what pressure that has to be, because this guy's come out and said he's got mental health issues.
Okay.
And he was an alcoholic.
Okay.
And he straightened his life up. He's prayed to the Lord. And, you know, and now all of a sudden he's, you know, peanut butter. He's extra crunchy.
Yeah.
You know, and so he had booked, he had said he had turned down some, he had turned down a deal, I think. Did you hear about this, Jamie?
Yeah, I heard.
It was like an $8 million deal or something.
Kind
of something with
the most
buses.
recent interview I can find with him than the one I heard was before the Cotton Eye Joe thing. But basically, he turned.
I heard about this guy.
Yeah, basically turned down.
Same
guy. He turned down several record deals in the millions already,
and made an announcement of saying that he wasn't going to do that because that's not what he was wanting to make music for.
Came out and
he was wanting to
made a declaration, which I always urge people not to do because you're liable to have to break that one in like 5 minutes. So
you're either going to break it or you're going to live up to it.
And then his buddy is his booking agent. You know, hey,
the 50-50 here, striker a ball.
It just threw together a team and booked the show at the Cotton Eye Joe. And the ticket price was going to be around $100. I think might have been $80, and then the meet and greet was like $199.
Okay,
and people start raising hell, because of what he said about the guys. I'm not about money and this, that, and the other.
Right.
Well, he comes out,
and then other people were like, "Wake up your neighbors, call your kids. This is our guy.
Yeah,
right.
He's the fucking champion of the world."
But everybody that was following him was put out with, okay, you just told us you're not about the money, and now I'm paying $80 to see you over here at Shit Kickers. So, and he comes out and says, well, my buddies did this, and I'm canceling the show. I'm going to have it at the Knoxville Convention Center. Cotton Eye Joe comes out and says, hey, he said his people set the price, and we're breaking even.
Yeah.
So he goes to Knoxville Convention Center and sells out in like 5 minutes.
Wow.
Then he moves it again to Smoky Stadium. So now, and it's this week, I think.
And real quick, he also, you know, shit started hitting the fan on both sides. Well, we like the promoter. No, we like the guy. We want this guy. We want this. Everybody wants to be right. Here we go again, right?
It's like a mess.
That's a complete fucking mess. And here's the bottom goddamn line of it all that pisses me the fuck off.
I'm ready.
This poor bastard, what the fuck you think he's going to fucking come back and respond with?
Yeah.
Fuck you. Now I won't be rich and, you know, kiss my ass. I got 7 billion subscribers and 11 million views and fuck you. Or is he going to come back and say the obvious, state the obvious, his team or whom the fuck ever that's fucked all this up in the mess
from a hole in the ground
is going to back out of it?
Yeah.
And do you not fucking think for a second that fucking the venue's going to do the same thing?
I don't know.
You know what I mean? No, I mean, not take any kind of fault, put it off on this. And no, we wanted it for this reason. And here's why. Anyway, it's just a big fucking mess. And the bottom line is, here's why it's a mess. Besides all these people losing their goddamn mind over a song that's been written 1,000 fucking times. that has the same thing to say. Now, I know, Mike, okay, let's take the 4 books of the Bible, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. They're all the same story. They're written by 4 different guys. So the viewpoints are different. Okay, great. Perfect. They put it in a book. One of the best sellers in the world, right? Yeah. Thank you, Jamie. Glad he showed up. But, you know, we got all this going on, man. And we're championing these people. And this guy don't have a clue. He don't know sick'em from go when it comes to contracts, money, payouts.
That's not a new story.
Logistics.
You know,
everything that goes along with it now. That a guy like me, who's got his own fucking honky tonk, raised a child in this business on somewhat of a local level.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've gotten to travel a lot of places, 28 states, 6 different countries I've played in. They fucking paid me to be there. You know, and this poor bastard ain't got a clue.
Yeah. Well, maybe,
you know, I don't know. I don't know if I don't even know why I get so aggravated. Let me finish up and I'll shut the fuck up about this. But the other thing is, you know, I don't mess around with social media an awful lot. I'll promote a show, make a reel, a post, or mostly about shows or pictures of cigars and anything that I might think, you know, strikes me amusing or whatever. But we we do that, and everything on there over the last couple weeks, it's just been different folks from different parts, circles everywhere. And man, I don't like the left. If they fuck them, they're all about this. So I'm gonna post about it. I don't like the right. I want to post about it. Well, you know, Dale Earnhardt said Dr. Jerry Punch was interviewing him at the rail at we'll just call it the Charlotte 600 or the Coca-Cola 600. It later became. But it's like, hey, they're talking about you, man. You're doing some dirty racing. You're hitting people. You're just, you know, running the way you want to, and you're winning when you want to. And how do you feel about people talking bad about you like that, you know, or having this opinion about you? He said, I don't care what they're saying as long as they're talking.
Yeah.
You know, stop fucking talking about it. All this bad shit that gets publicity. You wonder how it feeds and how it grows? Because you motherfuckers keep talking about it all the time. Ignore them. They'll go away. They will not grow. They'll get no water. They'll get no sunlight. They'll get no nutrients. They will not grow. Well, not nearly as fast either. I don't know, man. I'm sorry, guys, but it's been aggravating the shit out of me.
A couple of things went wrong with that particular instance. First of all, he should have kept his mouth shut.
I'm tying a lot of things.
Yeah, I know you are, but if you don't come out and make a proclamation, well, I'm not this and that and whatever. A good buddy of mine that's dead now, one of his favorite sayings was, "You never say never," you know, because as soon as you say never,
goddamn, James Bond told Sean Connery said never say never.
Right? Yeah, and you know, comes out and says, "I don't want the money" and whatever else. Was that very wise thing to do?
No.
You know, you could have got a payday right there, and then you could have gone out and done what you want to do, which he says is play music and, you know, be an influence and all this, that, and the other, and you wouldn't have had to worry about money anymore.
And here's the thing. I don't give 2 flying bags of fucks about none of it. What this guy, if he makes $1 billion goddamn dollars, more power to him, whatever. I don't care. I'm just saying that there's good stuff that needs to be talked about, that needs to be opinioned or reported on. Jesus Christ, boys, we all heard Anne Murray, didn't we? I mean, I can't believe I'm quoting Anne Murray in the honky tonk, but we sure could use a little good news today.
I guess my hang up is just on Richmond, north of Richmond. Is that some sort of dig at Northerners, supposedly? Is that what
at DC?
At DC.
Politicians.
Yeah, yeah. That's just another form of othering. And I just think
it could be underhand.
that's the same thing as
Underhanded.
not liking something is not the same thing as having an opinion. So the reason people are glomming onto it is because they think that, yeah, that's right. We're going to stick it to the man. But you're just othering people. And I don't like that. Like, why don't you write a song about who's great? It's the same thing. The subject matter of the song is the very same subject matter that you're talking about on social media.
I think so, man.
And that's the root of it right there. So
it is.
Whatever happens, happens.
Everything ain't what it fucking seems. There's counterfeits out there, people. So,
yeah,
that's
okay.
exactly right. And I think what, along with that song, is that people are pissed off. The whole world's mad.
Everybody's pissed off.
As you're talking the politics thing today, I told Mike earlier before we started recording, I've been watching a lot of old movies. I'm like 30s and 40s. Just because I don't want to watch any new stuff, And today I watched Mr. Smith Goes to Washington.
Oh, yeah.
And
cool.
Before that, there was an interview, and they interviewed Richard Dreyfuss, who had an encounter with Jimmy Stewart before he died, and all of a sudden he said something that was really important. He was talking about how before the war, Jimmy Stewart in his acting was like very innocent and naive and acting kind of guy. And then after that, he wasn't. And he made this point to Jimmy Stewart, and Jimmy Stewart
said,
nobody watched. He didn't realize that somebody paid that much attention. But something that Dreyfuss said in this interview was this, and this goes along with what you're saying. It's like,
you're going to need a bigger boat.
Used to, you could have a completely different political viewpoint or any viewpoint than somebody else, and you could still be close friends. And for the most part, that day's over with. That's what he was talking about. And along with this song you're talking about, the Richmond song, people are pissed off. They want somebody to blame. Instead of blaming themselves, let's blame Washington.
Sure.
Or let's blame this. Or I don't like that you like the Cubs, so fuck you. We can't be buddies. Which is,
I've never really liked you anyway.
Well, now the truth comes out.
New York Yankees, fuck him.
But you see what I'm saying? You can.
I do.
Used to, and on social media, it's just a breeding ground for it. I can have a different viewpoint, and you hate me because of my viewpoint.
It's the same thing, though. It's the not liking something is not the same thing as having an opinion. It's a procrastination from dealing with your own shit.
Yeah,
is what that is.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm with you, man.
That's what it is.
Well said.
The inability to be with your own difficult emotions is the root of all this stuff.
Growing up, we had people all the time at the McGill house. There were people who always come by. We were always that family, you know? And I've heard my folks talk with all different kinds of classes.
Sure.
However you want to describe it, but just all different kinds of people. And always had, not very few times was everything just completely agreed upon.
Oh, totally.
But that was okay. There wasn't anybody getting up, slinging a dish of fucking biscuits at somebody.
Well, at the same time, a lot of the folks that say these very angry, hurtful things online are a lot of times pretty nice to you in the grocery line.
Yeah.
It's just there's an anonymity there.
I think a lot of times people don't understand there's sometimes you can't take shit back.
I think you're right,
Kimbro.
That's true.
You know that.
Yeah.
And people don't understand that there's some shit you don't get to take back.
That's true.
So you better engage your fucking mouth, your brain, before you move your tongue.
I am not a religious believer of any sort, but do unto others is pretty simple. So you can do that. You can do that with your keyboard too.
Yeah,
they made the rule out of gold.
Yeah, that's
like the rule out of gold.
I went in. It's like me. I went into a convenience store one night, and there's this little pimply faced kid working behind the deal. And I put up a 6-pack of Tall Boy Blue Ribbons, and he goes, Are those any good?
What?
God almighty.
Yeah.
If there's ever been one that Mike McGill could hit out of the stadium, it was that one. And I said, well, they won a blue fucking ribbon.
Oh, well done. Well
And
done.
he's like, yeah, 1849 or whatever the fuck the thing said.
Yeah, but he's going to use that line at a party.
Yeah. And I said, hey, man, have you ever won a blue ribbon? Well, no. I was like, well, I'd still be bragging about mine if I'd won one. So, any rate, I don't know that. I thought it was going to tie it together. But,
I'm still waiting on what ties it all together.
oh, my God. Who ain't? You know what ties it all together, Kimbro? I'll tell you what it is.
Okay.
Harmony.
Okay.
Man, we need harmony.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Let that be a lesson
Yeah.
of life and of music and, analogies, if you will.
Yeah.
Harmony.
Sure.
Jesus.
If one voice is singing 3 different parts, it's not as interesting as 3 different voices singing 3 different parts. So there you go.
No, it's one of them fucking Atari Spaceman bullshit filters, stomp boxes you got on your
right.
shit.
Yeah.
I kind of dig it though. I like that. I think we were playing a gig one night. And I was like,
gosh.
I turned around and I was like, damn it, put that Atari Spaceman shit on it. Kimbro looked at
You
me
probably
like,
did.
what's he talking about? I'm like, do you not know what I'm talking about? How can you not know?
Put that Atari Spaceman shit on it.
Oh, mercy.
That's awesome.
We've had some good times.
That's true.
Hello, music lovers. Campbell's Music Room Guitars was opened and founded by our longtime friend Kyle Campbell back in 2017. If you're a beginner or a seasoned pro, you're always needing something. From strings, picks, or maybe a repair to your trusty instrument. Campbell's Music Room Guitars has a full line of all the stringed instruments. New and pre-owned, accessories, pedals, amplifiers, and here's the best part, it's a local, family-owned business where you will get the very best of sales and service from the owner himself. Campbell's Music Room Guitars has something for everyone. Did we mention that he also gives private lessons? Kyle is one of Knoxville's most multi-talented players and teachers with many years of professional teaching experience. Located at 5103 Kingston Pike, open Tuesday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Give Kyle a call at 865-584-0041 or stop by and tell him McGill and Jamie sent you and you wanted to have one more for the good guys.
Speaking of Jerry Douglas, Mike and I were talking last week. I used to work at Pick and Grin for a good while.
Cool.
And of course, Bud Brewster and Willie G, and then of course Paul's played with Ricky for years. And but one of the stories is that Phil Ledbetter used to come in the store all the time, and great.
Hey,
guy.
buddy. Hey.
Loved him. But he
That's
always
pretty
had-
good, Phil Ledbetter. It's way better than your Jimmy Stewart and way better than your Sean Connery.
Thank you very much. Your
but
opinion
not better
is
than
always
your John Anderson. Your John Anderson.
No, your John Anderson is uncanny.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
What was the project we were
shit.
going to... Sorry to interrupt, Jamie, but this is... John Anderson sings AC/DC. You have to do that record.
Oh, that would be a great one.
Even just one song. Sorry. Anyway.
Just line it up for me, Kimbro.
Yeah,
I'll be there.
I'll just line it up.
Andy Wood be good to play on that.
Well, I
one.
mean,
Would.
come on.
I'll book the Knoxville Convention Center.
Yeah. No, not a show. A recording. For Christ's sakes. We got to have a recording first.
That's right. Anyway, sorry,
She
Jim.
was yesterday
a
that
fast
Thunderstruck is the
machine.
most,
She kept her motor clean.
Thunderstruck gets the most royalties of any song.
Is that right?
Wow.
I bet. Because they use it at athletics, that build up, that guitar arpeggio.
I was lost in
it's
the
up to
middle
9
of a rock
cents
and
per
roll
play or something like
track.
that.
That's
now.
amazing.
And, but anyway, so Phil Ledbetter.
And I
But
knew.
every time, And Bud's a character. I don't know if you ever met Bud.
No, unfortunately.
But Mike and I were talking about this for a long, long time, especially teaching lessons there and having students, whatever. And, you're 8 years, 10 years, 11, 12 years old. You're like, he's the greatest guitar player of all time, which we all know is a bunch of shit because it's hard to pinpoint that. But for a long time, Bud would say, of all the instrumentalists out there, but every time Phil would come in, he would, I don't know what, Bud had a good way of pushing buttons because obviously Phil's a great player. And
Bud was a grasshole.
But yeah,
okay.
He was. And he'd say, Phil, it pretty much goes without saying that, there's Jerry Douglas and then there's everybody else. Isn't that right?
Oh my gosh. Ouch.
And
did I mention Bud was a grasshole?
You may have done.
And even Phil was like, well, he's pretty damn good. So that was one of the pick and grin things.
I see.
You could say that so-and-so's the greatest, this or that and other, but, there's not a whole lot of argument. There certainly wasn't then when you were talking about Jerry Douglas. Is that?
I guess when you write dual on banjos, though, you can...
Yeah, when, and...
Mocking banjos. Excuse me, that was the original.
Who's this?
Bud
Brewster.
Oh, really?
Paul Brewster's
first.
daddy.
I'm sorry, who's daddy?
Paul.
Oh, Paul's
Willie.
dad. Got it.
Well,
Paul Brewster.
Willie is Paul's.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But, okay.
So
his
I get it
uncle.
now.
His
But
uncle.
Bud
I'm getting the
and
whole
Willie
East
G,
Tennessee bluegrass history.
They
This
went
is
to
uncle.
Nashville in
Yeah.
the 50s
Right.
and recorded mocking banjos.
Okay.
Carl
They-
Story and the Ramblin' Mountaineers.
Yeah. And
Very cool.
he used to play with
I got the album.
And they even got royalties off of that Deliverance
Oh, yeah.
movie
Hell yeah.
because they got sued over that.
Yeah.
And he told me there was he called it Uptown Banjo. So not 5-string, but Uptown Banjo player named Arthur Smith
Uptown Band.
that,
That's cool. I like that.
wrote Doolin Banjo. Is what he said,
Hmm.
if I recall correctly. I'll have to look that up. But they actually recorded it first with the melody line that
You're right.
and
That's really interesting.
Yeah, you're right.
yeah. So Bud's one of those guys.
Yeah,
that-
he's a grasshole.
yeah. And but that was his thing. He'd always
When he says, how many mandolin players does it take to screw in a light bulb? It'd say 5. And Bill Monroe to stand around and tell him how to do it right. That's Bud.
that is it right there. We had that Far Side cartoon of the devil handing out banjos going into hell back there on the workbench. Rick and I it was sitting right there. That and a George Dickel picture of Merle Haggard.
Oh, that's
sitting right there,
fucking
too.
great.
Rick was a good dude, man.
Yeah, he really was.
Rick and I are real close. He, it is 16 years he'll be gone.
Yeah, that's amazing.
This December.
I only met him a couple times. I was pretty young when I met him. I think I was in high school, actually. But he was always really sweet to me.
Yeah, and just
He was a kind dude.
kind.
Yeah. He had time
Great.
for you.
Yeah.
Great musical.
Whatever your
mind.
skill level was.
Anybody can be an asshole.
Yes.
Anybody.
Yeah, and yeah, he was the good cop.
Yeah.
In the store.
Oh, God.
And-
yeah.
And
for
really
sure.
good bass player.
Yeah.
And just
100%.
and a musical historian and great, did great guitar setups. He was just, yeah, I'll never forget, man. When I heard that he was sick, he told me, I was one of the first people to tell him. It just broke me because he found out he's sick and then he was
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah, it was a
4
quick thing.
months.
Right, yeah.
So,
That's such a drag.
but yeah, that was fun times then. Yeah, I've got enough pick and grin stories to do 2 or 3 sessions on. But yeah, that was his thing. It's like it really is Jerry Douglas and then everybody else. Yeah.
Jerry's a good dude, man. He I've worked with him for 10 years now. It's been really, really cool.
Okay, so because I definitely want to ask you a few things about that, but we've shared ours, but who was your not now? I mean, we all the opinions change, and we always get things like that. But who was your biggest influence?
Man,
what did you hear the first time? And the reason I said that about Bud and about the Carl Story and the Ramblin' Mountaineers, we had 3 albums in our house. That was one of them. The other one was Flat and Scruggs from Carnegie Hall.
Mm-hmm. I have that vinyl now.
And
that's one of the best bluegrass albums of all time.
It's tremendous. It's actually, like
that one and Live at Vanderbilt both are just insane.
It's like watching the Marty Stewart show.
Totally.
That's the show.
Yeah.
It's that style that just
insanely
fucking, and they're killers.
Yeah.
They're damn killers.
Absolutely they are.
But we had that one, and we had those 2, and then we had there was an Osborne Brothers record. No, I'll take that back. There was I think there was Monroe.
Okay.
And Lester, when he came back after like their 13 years of not ever talking.
Right.
There was a live album that he welcomed Lester Flatt out on stage. We had that one, and then we had Rainbow Stew and Merle Haggard.
Cool.
Or whatever the one that had Rainbow Stew on it. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But those were the 4 records. So all 4 of those records, honestly, in different ways, really
shaped your sensibilities.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, that's... And we weren't a family that would just... my folks weren't people who would just put on a record and let it play. So we heard most of the music in the car.
Yeah.
But then once I got a little bit older and got my own record player and stuff, I remember listening to these records.
Yeah.
And it really, I think that really was the first thing that like hooked me in. So what was something like that for you?
So,
or whatever.
I love that question.
Your answer.
Two things.
I can make up something.
Stick out.
I'm good at it.
I'm a little bit younger than you. Our generation, my generation rather. Mom was really early days into CDs. She got in. I remember she bought a CD. Mom and Dad both were real musos, as they say.
Okay.
Just constantly listening. Music, Mom.
Because I know both your parents.
Yeah, exactly. So they're not together anymore and haven't been for a long time, but when I was a kid, they were. And it was just constant. Mom was spinning stuff constantly. And so those times, I just remember there was a lot of jazz, there was a lot of classical, and Dad was going to probably play Stanley Brothers or Flat and Scruggs or Knoxville Grass or whatever. Okay. And they would come up to Buddy's, speaking of Pick and Grin, they'd come up to Buddy's Bluegrass Nights and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they also sang together all the time.
Do you know real quick, just a little shot, who was the first act that ever played at the first Buddy's thing?
I don't know.
Doyle Lawson and Quicksilver.
Oh, okay, cool.
Wow.
Got it.
And Doyle had just quit Jimmy Martin. He was Jimmy's banjo player at the time. Yeah. Sorry.
No, that's
just a little shot.
It's a good
so you know.
So there was music just happening all the time. And it wasn't like she sang a lot. She sang in community choirs. She sang in musicals like at the community college in Morristown. But in White Pine, I remember especially we were growing up, like I would listen to her CDs on headphones, and it was a lot of the Police, it was a lot of Peter Gabriel, it was a lot of Mozart, the Marsalis brothers in different forms.
Nice.
Yeah, but then Dad had the Appalachian
eclectic mix.
For sure, the Appalachian side. But probably the most influential thing was that we were early days. This was deliberately stopped by especially my mom when I was in maybe I don't know, 4th or 5th grade, but we were outstanding members of the Morristown Church of Christ. And my grandfather on my dad's side.
Oh my God, they wouldn't even blow a pitch pipe for you.
Okay, so this is what I'm coming to.
Yeah.
So granddad on my dad's side, this is how mom and dad met, was through church. Granddad was the preacher at the Sneedville Church of Christ.
Oh, wow.
So
shit.
Sundays, if we weren't in Morristown, and we actually lived in the parsonage house for the Morristown Church of Christ. That's how broke we were at the time. They, like, the congregation took pity and like paid the mortgage on there, and the preacher didn't live there. Anyway, but if we weren't there, we were across Highway 33 up in Sneedville. And so that was a tiny, literally a house's living room. That was the
J. Don Gibson
sanctuary.
Promotions.
100%. Over there in Jimmy Martin territory.
Yeah.
Just past Buster Turner's place.
and the Tasty Freeze.
And the Tasty Freeze. Well done. I was just in Harrogate last weekend, actually. Funny enough. But anyway, but the sound of that many a cappella voices resonating in a room.
It's an instrument.
It's a really interesting thing.
It's an instrument.
It totally is. It has its own sound that is not the sum of all the parts.
Yes.
It has its own timbre. And so that was a big, big thing. And I think that was a huge influence. But then, just like you said, when you started spinning your own records, when I got my own bedroom, my own boombox, my Magnavox, when there were a couple of moments that were just like, holy shit moments, like, of course, Hendrix, but the two biggest ones for me were Thin Lizzy's Jailbreak record, specifically the 2 guitar solos on I Am Just a Cowboy and on Emerald, the last 2 tracks. And when the very first time, and this is probably
the harmony tracks.
Exactly. The very first time I heard...
Whereas the Grasshopes would say the twin track.
The twin,
Twin guitar.
Well, look, dude, they're playing like Shenandoah.
Yeah.
They're playing Irish melodies. And where the hell do you think bluegrass music came from?
Absolutely.
It's a synthesis of blues licks by Bill Monroe that he happened to play an 8-string instrument with double courses. And he's playing Robert Johnson licks. And he puts it together with... He and Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs put it together with Appalachian
that black man
folk.
Arnold Schultz would come down out of the mountains.
That's right.
And he had he was a mighty powerful man.
That's right. Yeah.
Powerful guitar player.
Everybody has their Bill Monroe.
For sure.
And this is my phone call that I have to take.
Oh, my God.
I know. Sorry.
Hey, good guys and good gals alike. If you're looking for somewhere to go to get your hair did, then look no further than the Chop Shop Hair Studio. Our longtime friend and supporter, Cindy Lou, opened this spot located in Knoxville's very own Happy Holler back in 2010. Chop Shop Hair Studio offers a variety of services, including facial waxing, accessories, tools, and a complete line of men's and women's products, along with essential oils. A lover and supporter of the musical arts here locally and abroad, Cindy has a small stage with stringed instruments and offers discounts to guests if they are willing to play and or sing a song. The Chop Shop Hair Studio is a little bit country, a little bit rock and roll, and 100% pure style, just like our dear friend and owner, Cindy Lou. The hours are Tuesday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. You can also visit thechopshophairstudio.com and or call 865-525-4240 to book your next visit to go and get your hair did. Located at 1206 North Central Street, Knoxville, Tennessee, Chop Shop Hair Studios. Stop by and tell them McGill and Jamie sent you to have one more for the good guys.
From Scotch-Irish music and the synthesis of that with African stuff.
That mighty powerful guitar player, Arnold Schultz.
So, combing through different records, though, when I didn't know anything about the world, and then I heard Eruption. And, like, honestly, like, Eddie Van Halen changed my life. He really did.
I got to give you some love on that. Oh, man. I love that.
It's such awesome. A big deal to me. Like, I never got to see him live. I can't believe that he died. But I just, when I heard that, I just was like, because it was neoclassical. You know what I mean? And I've been listening to all this Mozart stuff and the Police and all these different things that had very interesting, cool chord progressions. But whenever the Thin Lizzy and the Van Halen thing entered my world, it was that rad sound, but played in such a melodic way that was also melodic in a way that I could identify with. On the Thin Lizzy side, it was with the Appalachian-ness of it. And with the Eddie Van Halen, it was with the neoclassicalness of it, with Eruption.
Okay,
so then suddenly there was a cool, to me, version of what my parents were into.
Absolutely.
Because my parents had done that, and they had been, my parents' first date was a Van Halen concert. You know, they had been there and done that. And so where they were when I was coming of age musically, exactly, when I was coming of age musically, as it were, they were into folk music, because I think a lot of people do that. They come back to acoustic derived music, because they're looking for authenticity. And amongst other things, they're looking for honesty and they're looking for intimacy. And what we start to look for in the shows and the movies that we watch. Yeah, exactly. You start to look for these intimate exchanges of emotion,
right?
Because you don't know how many of those you maybe have left, and you realize that that's the real shit, right? So anyway, yeah, those were my main musical things, and then I got into bass playing, and I got into, you know, like some of the jazz stuff, and I got into like Maynard Ferguson, which led me down into Earth, Wind and Fire, which led me to Parliament Funkadelic, which led me to, and that's how. Yeah. You know, but mom and dad both, but mom especially,
well, they're music lovers.
100%. And her tastes are so eclectic, and she would sit me down and say, listen to the way that he does this thing.
Which is totally her.
It is.
As me not being her son. And
you're her.
Have met her.
For the listener, she lives just a few miles from here now, near House Mountain, which we're in far east Knox County. And that's where she lives as well. Yeah, just
rare and spooky power you learned in the Far East called mascot.
That's right. I refer to Mike McGill as the mascot.
Well, hey, I got to tell you, it's so funny, and the reason I slapped, not the only reason I slapped you high five during the Eddie Van Halen story. Mm-hmm. So, my brother was with the Kingdom Heirs for years. Founding member, all that stuff. And one of the first, I don't know, maybe about the first couple, 3 years, whatever it was, that they started working Dollywood full time.
Okay.
They were the number one attraction on the park.
No kidding.
Oh, yeah. I mean, above the rides.
So this was pre-Wild Eagle then.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, Dollywood joke.
What a dick. You know,
like you didn't know that before you invited me out here.
You got one up, and then we tied up, and that one, you ain't getting no fucking points for that one. You're just a dick.
Wait, so you dole out the points? Yeah. You're the point guy?
Of course I am.
But you're also a point receiver. That's not fair.
Yeah.
I guess it is your honky tonk.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Kingdom Heirs.
So, a little friend of mine, a guy named Aaron Dowling.
Okay.
And when we first met, he looked like Ricky Schroeder off the Champ. Get up, Champ. Get up.
Yeah, yep.
Little guy, blonde hair, good looking kid, and just a nice guy. He played trumpet, I played trumpet. We started talking, and we made a friendship. Well, I told him, I said, hey, man, we can go to Dollywood. We can ride up on the bus with my brother.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we were on the Silver Eagle.
Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah. I was fucked from the beginning. Like 11.
Oh, that's a great experience.
Oh, totally. Dude, on the jump seat.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Those old Eagle buses, man. Dr. Ralph had one of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I sat up on the jump seat, and talk to the driver.
Yeah, hell
I'd stay up for 12 hours at a time just to make sure. You okay, Chubby? You okay, Charlie? Or whoever.
That's cool, man.
So we get up there, and we go through the park, and we're having a great time, and everything's going good. But I got the keys to the bus. And I'm like, hey, man, let's just go back to the bus for a little while. Fuck it. We'll turn on the air conditioner. I know how to run everything. They show me how to do it. So we get back to the bus, crank it up, put it in neutral the whole no, dude, totally. Crank it up, and I'm like, check this out. I brought this. Well, they had this killer Bose stereo system in the Eagle.
Hell yeah.
Okay. And the TV in the deal, the whole thing, everything tucked and pleated and diamond tucked, and all that shit.
Also, just to say, I love the notion of someone taking a tour bus from here to Dollywood.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty baller.
Well, yeah. I think they were getting ready to go out on a run.
Okay.
But nonetheless, it's still pretty baller.
Yeah.
So we get up there and we get back to the bus and we put in, I had just discovered like Van Halen 1, Van Halen 2.
So about the same age I was.
Yeah. Totally. About the same age.
Yeah.
And
what is it about Van Halen that
years
speaks
before,
to prepubescent boys?
Oh my God.
Running with
Oh
the
my God.
devil.
It's the sound of hormones.
Yeah.
So good.
I don't feel tardy.
I don't feel tardy. Give me something to write on, man.
Man.
That's cool, man. So you were spending that stuff on your brother's bus.
Oh, totally, man.
At
In the cassette deck in
Hell yeah.
Dollywood, listening to Eruption, listening to Diver Down, listening to 1 and 2, and all that shit, man. And just fucking like, what the hell has just happened to us? It was just killer shit.
I still have it, a Van Halen shirt, and it's from the Balance record, which was the Van Hagar days, late days of that iteration. And my mom got it for me, I think for Christmas or something. I think I got it. There was a disc exchange in Morristown, which was insane. Anyway, the Van Halen, one of their logos that they had adopted at the time for this Balance Records design was the Leonardo da Vinci Vitruvian Man, right? He's got the arms, and you see it in medical insignia also. Anyway, that guy's naked. And so I can't remember her name, but my English teacher had been there long enough that she was also my mom's English teacher. And she made me turn my Van Halen t-shirt inside out. And Mom came home and Mom was like, why's your shirt inside out? And I told her, and she went to school the next day and chewed her out and said, that is Leonardo da Vinci. And you made him turn that inside out. And I was like,
good for your mom,
dude. Those were formative things. It was like, my parents have my back,
Well,
and that goes for my music, and that goes for my personality, and it goes for advertising my music and my personality. Because when you're in middle school and you choose to wear a band's t-shirt,
your mom was a savage.
Exactly. But when you're in middle school and you choose to wear a band's t-shirt, that is making a statement that you might not be ready to make. This is a considered thing in middle school, man.
Yeah.
Like, you're living and dying by how your fucking hair looks, man.
Dude, I remember.
And my mom went to school and told her, that's his shirt, man. That's Da Vinci.
Yeah.
Like, come on. That was
history.
Huge for me. Like, that was just one of the formative things.
Absolutely, man. I used to sneak and hide my Twisted Sister t-shirt that I won at the fair.
Okay.
I
from your folks?
busted 3 balloons, and I said, fuck it, I want that one with that fucking cross-dressing, crazy-looking motherfucker eating a cow bone on the front of it.
You remember the mirrors at the fair?
Yeah, hauling ass. That was a good one. Boy, I wish I had a hauling ass mirror for the honky tonk. Are you shitting me? Put it on the ceiling? You know what I'm talking about, don't you?
I think so.
Yes.
All the girls, they were all in the high heels. The girls were in the bed of a truck. I know this will sound ridiculous.
Yes.
But fuck off. It was the fair.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it was they had the high heels on.
Yeah, this was the era.
The thongs or the Daisy Dukes.
Oh, I remember.
And they were all lined up across the thing, and it said hauling ass.
Yeah.
Oh, goddamn. I bet I spent $6 trying to win that mirror at the fair. Are you kidding me?
Oh, it's such a,
But I did win a D. Snyder Twisted Sister t-shirt, and I would put it on and put another shirt over it because my mom. I don't know if she would have. I just had too much respect.
I understand. You
know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's totally. I mean,
that's cool.
To this day, I'm 52 years old, and I've never drinking from my mother.
Wow.
That she knew it.
Huh.
Now I'm drinking some vodka tonics in front of her, but she didn't know.
She didn't know what was going on.
She didn't know nothing.
But she might have, Mike.
She might have.
She's probably a pretty savvy chick.
I probably couldn't fool the old battle axe.
Careful. Yeah.
The old bird. No, I love my mother. And your mother's a good one too, man.
Thank you, man.
I really got to kind of hang out and meet her as I'm gonna say again, in the wild.
Yeah.
At Hippie Jacks. And it was really, really, really cool.
Oh man, she and her partner Ramon both are
Ramon's great.
Yeah, they're Mike McGill fans too.
I ran into him at the Town and Country over here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, you're basically, and as far as this part of the county goes, you guys are definitely neighbors.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. The fair, man, like what an event the fair used to be. And I guess it still is in some places. But I remember one of my first gigs, one of my first gigs that I was fucking throw up nervous for was the Knox County Fair, like the Tennessee Fair. We played in the Stone Gazebo over there at Chilhowie Park.
Yeah.
And we played, Eric, the guitar player, had a talk box, and he got good at it, man. And we played Do You Feel, Peter Frampton. We played the whole fucking thing. Spunk Bam on the keyboard, Spunk Bam. Like, we played the whole thing, man. And, like, I was playing my P-bass at the time, you know. Like, literally throw up nervous for 5 people, and my mom's wearing the band T-shirt, you know.
Yeah.
Like, but I was so, you know, and played the Jefferson County Fair, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like, now
coming to a parking lot near you.
Holy shit!
I've been wanting a tour T-shirt named that forever.
There is no planet.
Parking lot near you.
There is no planet in the multiverse upon which I would allow either of my kids to ride a carnival fair ride.
Oh, man,
I can't believe the freedom that we, you know, Mom, can I have $10? You know,
it's armband day.
Yeah.
I need $20.
You know,
I get to ride everything for free.
9 of those $10 went into the candy corn.
I'll dehydrate myself. I won't drink anything. I won't.
Yeah. Jesus.
Oh man, I remember we went one year. It was me and Trisha Jean.
Oh yeah,
the big dumb Indian guy she used to date, and I say that because we are still good friends to this day. And I just never made any difference over the guy. I just made fun of him like I did everybody else. And he liked me. And I took him through his first psychedelic trip. So
we're not talking about Sean.
So fuck you. Don't judge me. No.
Everyone needs a shaman on their first psychedelic trip.
Oh, I was totally a shaman.
Yeah.
I was totally a shaman on the first trip.
The ramen shaman.
Yeah. And I remember he goes, man, we got all this acid. I was like, all right. I was like, well, I'll tell you what. One of these days, you catch me in the right frame of mind.
Yeah.
I said, I'm going to tell you what to do. And you don't act any different. You go do what I told you to do. And I'll lead you through this. So Trisha Jean and I played a little gig somewhere. I can't remember where it was, but we had played a little gig, and he comes up to me and he goes, you know, I still got this acid in here. And my buddy, I can't even remember what his buddy's name was now, Brian or Sean. Maybe it was Sean. Said, and Sean's here with me, and man, we really been wanting a trip. And I was like, go get 2 cases of beer. And he
you at the right time.
Immediately looks at me and goes, 2 cases? I was like, do you want to fucking go through this or not? I didn't let him off the hook for a second. You know me. There ain't no way I'm going to let him off the hook. So they go get the beer, and we come back here, man. And we took the acid, and the berries on the dogwood trees were just as
the schnozberries tasted like schnozberries.
They totally tasted like schnozberries. But at any rate, I don't even know why I started saying all that. But
I haven't understood a word you've said all night.
That's good. That means this is going to be number 1 hit episode.
Speaking of that, is there any truth to the rumor that you've had Barry Pohana on this very?
Yes,
that's great.
Yeah, for sure.
One of my favorite human beings on the planet.
Well, I got to come out publicly and say this. Thanks to you, Barry Pohana is on my radar.
Hell yeah.
You were the one. You were like, McGill, you sing this shit good enough, and you need the guys that want to play it behind you, and this is the guy. This is your guy.
Yeah, man.
And I didn't pass go. I didn't collect $200. I called Barry Pohana immediately.
Thank you for respecting my opinion.
Absolutely.
It turned out good, didn't it?
Oh, my goodness.
Well, I was your shaman for your trip.
You were bringing it back. Yes, you totally were. No, man, Poe's he's a gem.
He was guest number 2. I guess.
I think that's right. I think Mark Dunn was Michael.
Dude,
Michael.
I just saw Mark Dunn.
No.
Yes,
no,
I did.
No.
That's really good.
No.
I just saw him
Hell
at the corner
no.
Yeah. At the corner lounge. Brendan and I went and opened for Mick.
Yes.
And I thought, holy shit, that's Mark Dunn.
And I had just spent like 14 hours out here that day clearing all this fucking brush and trees.
What's that got to do with it?
I was tired.
Oh, that's why you didn't come.
Yes.
Oh, that's okay. Nobody noticed you.
I didn't know you were with again, a dickish move.
Yeah, well. You didn't know I was what?
I didn't know you were playing with Brendan then.
Yeah, Mick asked Brendan, hey, do you want to open this gig at the Corner Lounge?
Well, Brendan told me at my birthday that he was doing it, but he didn't say anything about you.
He told me about it. He's like, hey, do you want to come play with me? Because that's how we had a band called Brendan James Right and the Wrongs. And that's how it started, was Brendan and I playing duos.
Yeah.
That started with me sitting in with him at Mellow Mushroom.
Yeah.
And playing like Towns Van Zandt shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah. It was kind of a really fun OG Knoxville night. You know what I mean?
I really wish I'd have got to make it.
To call myself OG Knoxville, I'm definitely not. But
well,
it was cool to be in the Corner Lounge.
Clear, we were not putting you in that category.
I appreciate it. I don't belong there. I'm just
my
count
goodness.
some of the OG Knoxvillians amongst my peers and friends. I'll say that.
No.
But it was really cool because it was Mick and it was the vibe was right at the Corner Lounge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a different Corner Lounge than it used to be, but it was still cool.
Do you want a cigar?
I do want a cigar.
Okay.
But do you have a small, like a
I'm going to pick you one. I'm going to pick you the best one.
Oh, that's very kind.
Come on.
You're right. I shouldn't. I should listen to my shaman.
Nice callback. Because I was getting ready to call it back too. Okay, carry on, boys.
So, Jamie, how did you get to know Mike? What's the origin story?
Oh, Lord. Well, that's
was
a
it
good
because
one.
of his audio engineering skills?
Yeah, that's...
For the listener, Mike's just
he
dropped
dropped
his
one
mic.
of my
It's Mike on Mike crime.
And from then on, we were close. Well, funny thing, close friend of mine in middle school and through high school was the brother of Mike's wife.
Okay.
So I met easy. Yeah. We're
in wife territory. Care must be taken.
Yeah. And I knew who he was a couple of years. I think you were 2 years ahead of me in school, something like that. But I had, yeah. So, yeah. And we met through that.
Okay.
And
you guys have known each other a good while. Then.
Oh, 30 years.
Oh, wow. Okay. Where did you guys go to? Did you guys go to high school together? At Carter.
Yeah. I went for 2 years and they rezoned us and I had to go. I went to Holston, but
right.
He, so I knew him through there. And then after, we kept, at that time, I was starting to play out around here, and that was in the early 90s.
Okay.
And
playing keys primarily?
Yeah. Then only. That.
Okay.
Cool. Because I was 16, I started playing in honky tonks and mostly, it was during that 90s country boom. So if you didn't play that, you weren't getting a gig.
You got some Diamond Rio songs under your hat.
Yeah, well, we never had the guitar player for that, but
got it.
It was Brooks and Dunn and Alan Jackson, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then my buddy, Mike's brother-in-law, if you will, said, hey, Mike's a really good singer. And then I brought one of my keyboards up there one time, and we played around.
Oh, cool.
Did some stuff, and then
cool. Hell yeah.
We were actually doing that Joe Diffie song at that time.
Iffy. Man, my mother, speaking of in-laws, my mother-in-law, if there is not a country song recorded from the year 1983 to 1999 that she doesn't know forwards and backwards. It's hilarious. Anyway, sorry. Digress.
So we connected there, and then, life became life.
Sure.
And in 2016, I hadn't played. I took a long time off to play in church. And
Okay.
I didn't play for, probably 13 years or so out. And then there's a local band named Guy Marshall, and Adam and his wife and I started that, and then started playing. And then they took off and needed to play more than I could. And then so I contacted Mike. We stayed in touch on social media, and then contacted him in 2016. And then we started doing the Christmas shows, and then I started doing.
That's how I met you, I think.
Yeah, you and I played together the first time.
Yeah,
when it was Barley's in Maryville.
That's right. Oh, right.
Yeah,
that's right. Was that a Romeo's gig, or was that a McGill gig?
It was a. Mark Dunn played drums.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I think it was too.
Okay, cool.
Poe.
Oh yeah,
just 5 of us. And
I'm pretty sure it was
round tables in that room that I despise. But anyway, that's the first time I played with you. And then we'd done the Christmas show in 16. And then started playing with the refills, then playing with the Romeos, and then here we are. So, but we've known each other since 1990.
OG East Knox crew, man.
Yeah.
I remember, and Jamie, you can take this over after post it up, but I remember we had to go somewhere and get something or do something. And I was like, "Hey, man, just ride with me and listen to this tape."
Oh, I'll tell you exactly.
Yeah, here you go.
This was during the Mike was married years, and they were having a family reunion.
We had first met.
Yeah, they had a family reunion over in the Riverdale area.
Okay.
And I had come over there for some reason, and I had a aftermarket cassette player. Back then, that was what you had. CDs were out, but that wasn't a thing.
I got it
yet. And he's like, "Listen to this," and he popped in. I heard the Angels singing Doyle Lawson and Quicksilver.
Oh, cool!
Man, I was like,
"What I heard the Angels singing."
And
well, my God told me what to do. I heard the Angels sing.
He definitely, like the Doyle thing with the acapella stuff, that kicked off that. I mean, not that it's the first acapella music or anything, but that's such like having that be
it was
a featured thing on a bluegrass record.
And it was the sacred music that we were familiar with.
Right. But done to the nines.
Oh.
Like with those Appalachian harmonies.
And Russell Moore was on that record.
Absolutely.
And then
it's insane singing.
And then I got after he shared that with me, I went and bought that and bought something else and just wore it out, man.
Cool.
And because
my Osborne Brothers.
Yeah, well,
that was Harmony 101 right there. Osborne Brothers, Doyle Lawson.
Yeah.
Jeez. Bless America.
I had gotten a bad taste in my mouth for the Osborne Brothers, so that's a different story. From somebody.
Well, that's the thing about bluegrass music. It's all so close. You know how the hot dogs are made with a lot of these cats, and like Mike said, anybody can be an asshole.
Yeah. And my grandmother had every Stanley Brothers album ever.
That's my thing.
And come to find out, I learned this as I got what I would call musically coherent. That everybody on my dad's father's side all played and were bluegrass had Appalachian music and all that. So, and that's why she had all those records. And I'd listen to it, but when you're a kid, 13, that was, I was 13 or 12 in 86. So that was right in the hair metal days. And
Sure.
I was Van Halen in it and Def Leppard and this, that, and the other, just like he was talking about. So, but yeah, we met then, and I played a lot then. I mean, in between the ages of 16, 18 or so, I had played. And I played
very
more
involved
then
cigar lighting process
than I ever did after. I mean, I was playing 7 nights a week then. So,
Mike on my crime.
Hate this.
And here we are, 30 years later, and it's been 30. It's more than that, probably 32 or 33 years.
That's cool.
Now, I'll never forget the day Hannah was born.
It's a great one. That's
was during that huge
just rotated
snowstorm.
around. Make sure you get your foot light.
What'd you give him?
You could actually rotate it counterclockwise. Counterclockwise would be better.
I am rotating it counterclockwise.
Okay, you're doing good then. Fuck, he's always wants to argue this.
Well, from your vantage, it's clockwise.
Yeah.
What did you give him? What's smoking?
La Roma de Cuba.
Oh, yeah.
Robusto. It's actually a Rothschild.
Really nice.
It's actually a Rothschild size.
Such one of our favorite brands.
That's a $5
folks,
stick.
we're talking cigars now, folks.
Yeah.
That's a $5 stick, and
doesn't taste that way.
It's as good for a newbie and or an occasional smoker versus a connoisseur.
It's very light.
Yeah,
not aftertasty.
Actually, yeah, you're rolling it the right way.
It will
Is it coming unwrapped. It ain't coming unwrapped, is it?
Not really.
Okay.
So you roll it this way because of the way that it's wrapped from
that way.
So I'm doing this as I'm looking at it.
Yes, you're doing correct.
This is interesting, folks. I'm getting quite the education here.
It's really an art form. I mean, obviously making them is and blending them, but smoking it.
Well, each one of them are a handmade item.
Absolutely. What do they say? Up to 200 hands it's touched every cigar.
Well, I hope they washed them because it's my mouth.
Well,
now.
It'll heat up and it'll burn it off.
That's right.
But that's back on the cigar. That's a Pepin Garcia blend. Who is my father's cigars? It's basically Yoda of cigars. So
and we should. Goddamn, I'm gonna turn this shit over again. Hang on a minute.
He's hard on equipment.
I'm aware.
Actually, right behind you.
Yes.
To your left, there's the yellow ashtray right there. There you go.
Thank you very much.
Now.
Or you want that?
No.
Got it.
Now you can let it rest.
Perfect.
And every 2 or 3, 4 minutes, that thing's gonna continue to smoke.
Cool.
It's not a lot of folks, especially folks who were cigarette smokers at one time, want to think they have to smoke it all the time. You don't. So.
Oh, and you shouldn't.
No, you shouldn't.
Just like with a pipe smoking, too hot's bad. You can't taste hot smoke. You get a bitter thing. So the cooler the smoke, the more the flavor. So, that's one of those 1935s.
Yeah, so we should real quick. I started off with a Perdomo Habano Maduro in a Churchill size, and it was the cigar of death. It lasted 16 days and 37 hours.
I like that you were looking at the clock just then to decide.
Well, I had to be accurate.
Hey,
started out with what?
I started with the Liga Privada number 9 in a torpedo shape, which was basically like smoking a jalapeno. Very, and it right now it's got a lot of traction for being one of the top 5 cigars in the world. It's like really getting a lot of new press. and it's okay. It's not their best one.
Yeah.
And now I am smoking an Ashton VSG, Virginian,
Virgin
Sun-Grown, rather, in a sorcerer size, which is their Churchill size.
Churchill.
And it's
7x48.
Absolutely fantastic.
Wow, you guys are...
yeah, those are great.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm getting ready to light up a Monte Cristo 1935 anniversary, blended by Rafael Nadal and AJ Fernandez. It's a box pressed.
Did you say Rafael Nadal?
Yes.
The tennis player?
It is not him.
Oh,
it is a cigar
that would have been
guy.
cool.
It's the number 2 cigar of the year, too.
It's the number 2 cigar of the year in 2021, and really, really nice smoke. So
okay,
that's what I'm getting ready to light up. Daniel's smoking a La Aroma de Cuba.
That's right.
That is rolled at the Pepin Garcia factory in Nicaragua.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. And it's in the Robusto. It's actually in a Rothschild size, which is like a 4.5 by 48. And
that would be inches long.
Yes.
By
ring gauge.
By
ring gauge.
1/64 of an inch thick.
Got it.
64 is an inch thick. Diameter.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
That's the gauge.
Yes.
Cool. I never knew that.
Why they
Learning
come up
shit.
with 64th of an inch, who knows?
I'm lighting my cigar with the custom made hand lighter from Art de Fumar. If you're on Instagram or Facebook, go look for Art de Fumar
And get one.
Really, really cool lighters.
Great looking lighter. He put cigar bands, and it's I call it my cigar lightsaber. I've got one too, man. It's a hoss of a lighter too. It just really. So yeah, we smoke a lot of cigars.
Yeah.
This is my fourth.
Wow, look at that lighter. That's incredible.
Those are all bands.
Yeah, and then they just like varnish over the top of them.
Yeah.
It's a cool idea.
He's making me a pick guard for my telly.
Wow.
Out of cigar bands for that Koa telly.
Like a lightsaber.
Yeah, flip the top.
Oh. Sorry. Cool. Very cool lighter.
Yeah. Holds a lot of fuel too.
Yeah, that's the nice thing, right?
Burn all day with that one. You go through a lot of fuel.
Right.
Doing these things, I do. But yeah,
the other nice thing is that it's shaped in the size of the cigar,
so it fits in your box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And no,
not
no
this
wasted.
weird thing. Yeah.
So if you want to take them out, that's a good one.
Very cool. I haven't had a cigar in a long time. This is nice.
Yeah, that's a really, really good cigar. That again, it's a cheap enough cigar that if you got a quarter or half the way through, I wouldn't be upset if you were just like, "Oh, this is not for me," you know.
Right.
But it's also
we've got a humidor full of them, so it's also fantastic smoke. I mean, just beginner or not.
Yes,
so
exactly. Good. That's where I was going with it.
Yeah, it's just if you said, Jamie, you can only have one cigar the rest of your life, and it's got to be less than $10, it's going to be that brand. That's probably cool. For me.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're just unbelievably consistent and inexpensive. Construction's always perfect. They hardly ever, it's just, and what's crazy about it is that I've been smoking cigars since 2008-ish. And I ran across that brand with JR Cigars out of North Carolina. I ordered some, and I was like, golly, man, these are so good. I was telling my wife, I was like, God, these are good. And then they got like in the top 5 that year with Cigar Aficionado. I was like, see?
Oh, let me see it. What are you doing?
I'm going to cut the ass off.
You can't cut it any further.
Why?
Because it's going to start unraveling on
Well, it already is, so. All right, folks, they're bringing out a new tool.
Well, sometimes they unravel based on the humidity or based on the cut or whatever, anything. And that right there is a natural glue. It's actually the same stuff they use to put cigars together. You can get a little bottle of it for like
this
$7
is
or $8.
next level.
And you
looks like my fly fishing dressing that I used.
You just glue it over, and then you're back to smoking.
Cool.
So, I smoke here lately. I've been smoking a lot of Connecticut wrapper cigars, which are a much lighter color.
Okay.
And much thinner. They're delicate, more delicate. And
is that because the tobacco is grown in Connecticut?
Well, it used to be all grown in Connecticut, but now they have Connecticut shade, and it's grown under shade that they'll grow in other places because just to keep up with demand. But a lot of times when you pull the band off, it will unravel a little bit, and that cigar glue fixes it.
Cool.
Because otherwise it's a distraction, obviously.
Yeah. So, try that, and if it doesn't work, we'll light you another one.
Oh, that's all right.
Hey folks, if you're looking for a cool, eclectic place with an outside patio, plenty of UT sports games, cold beer, and live music on the weekends, then look no further than one of our homes away from home, Trailhead Beer Market, located at 1317 Island Home Avenue in South Knoxville, Tennessee. Trailhead is South Knoxville's first beer market, situated on the banks of the Tennessee River and in the backyard of the Urban Wilderness and Iams Nature Center. You can find more info on Facebook and Instagram about specials, live acts, and the goings-on, and be sure to tell them McGill and Jamie sent you, and have one more for the good guys.
So is that sort of the premise? You have people come out and chat and have a smoke with you?
Well, most people don't smoke with us.
Gotcha.
Cigars.
Yeah.
Some do.
Some do.
But way less than the other. It's just something we do, and we always start the thing off by saying what we're getting ready to light up, and we even did a thing of like the top 8 or something like that of what new folks should go look for.
One of our segments was like we've been talking here, just
because some of those stores you walk into, there's a walk-in humidor as big as this place.
Yeah.
Yeah, what the fuck you do then?
It is. Yeah,
you know what I mean. What do you do?
When I worked at the fly shop, it's the same kind of way. My job was to well, hold on. These are there are categories, and then it doesn't have to be rocket science. These are just options.
And a good shop will have somebody come in and all the shops out there that are listening to this that aren't good shops. Here's how you become one. They interact with the customers, and they'll come in and find out, hey, because not everybody's a seasoned cigar smoker like we are, knows what they're after, and it's just option fatigue. It's like flipping through Netflix to find out what you want to watch.
Yeah,
you don't know what you want to watch.
Well, and a lot of times you think, oh, I'll buy this $15 cigar because
if it's more expensive,
it's a special little occasion. It's more expensive. It's got Martin on the headstock. Same kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you buy it, and you're just like, ugh, I don't understand what all the fuss is about.
Yeah. Might not be your thing.
Yeah.
That's the gatekeeping thing is really annoying too when you encounter someone. For example, from my vantage, like you encounter someone at the fly fishing shop who is real snooty about the fact that so and so doesn't know the difference between fly wire situation that you would use them in, and I hate that. I hate it in music stores too. That gatekeeping shit is another procrastination. Like, just help the person get on with the process.
And that right there is something Rick Wolf was great at.
That's right.
And
that's exactly right.
The one thing about the cigar community is you hardly ever run into that part of it, where they're like elitist about it. Oh, well, you don't know this.
Right.
Now, there's an asshole.
There'll be those assholes.
There's asshole in every
But be an asshole.
But like I'm into comic books, okay?
Okay.
And that community is awful as far as people trying to get in, just asking.
Really?
Yeah. Oh my God. Now, not necessarily at the shops, but just online communities and, what's this worth? And, people just murder you.
Oh my God.
It's awful.
What a waste of time.
Yeah. But the cigar, like we're members of a cigar group that's like 24,000 people.
Oh, wow. Like
there's hardly,
Facebook group.
Yeah. And there's hardly a negative word said ever.
It's the same. Yeah. There's a simple fly tying one, it's really cool.
Well, it's supposed to be something that brings people together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is a time that cigar is going to last you at least 35 minutes.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so a lot of times, if we're not doing the podcast, or I'm just here and I've made it fucking safely through a day that I didn't die.
Sure.
And 9 times out of 10, I'm probably going to wake up in the fucking morning.
You're going to celebrate that.
I'm going to celebrate that.
Cool.
And I can go from 30 minutes to 2.5 hours.
That's cool. Because
if I pick a Churchill size, that's going to be probably about a 2-hour smoke. And if I really want to nurse it and then really enjoy it, it's probably going to be about 2.5 hours.
That's your ball game watching.
Yeah, exactly.
Or just to shut your mind down where you're not.
It's a meditation.
That's why I started smoking.
It's a celebration. I fucking made it.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah. That's why I started smoking, was to force myself to stop.
And I got off the cigarettes.
I was just going to say a lot of cigarette smoking friends I have
I don't Jones for a cigar.
Yeah, but one of the harder things,
you know what I mean,
for them is the meditation,
absolutely,
taking the time,
absolutely.
Thing.
And I still go through it from time to time.
Yeah,
totally. But no, to me, the cigar thing was. I know when I didn't know shit from apple butter about none of it, and I would sit. I'd bought these cigars. They're like $59 for 20 of them. And they were called factory throwouts. So I would buy them. And what those were, basically what we call a Cuban sandwich. They were chopped in pieces of everything that came off the make table.
Okay.
And they wrapped all this stuff up and then rolled this to make another level.
Okay.
Because waste not, want not, right?
To sell on the back of Popular Mechanics.
Correct.
Yeah, got it.
So I started smoking those at first.
Okay.
And I would have a candle.
Oh, right.
And whatever I had it propped up on, I'd just prop it up on it. And I would just let it light off the heat because these things are rolled vertically horizontally with actual tobacco leaves.
Right.
This is handmade and built to combust.
Right.
Naturally.
At a certain rate.
A certain rate. So I didn't know nothing.
Yeah.
I hadn't read nothing. I didn't know nothing. I just needed something to smoke.
Yeah.
Right. And I started doing it that way, and I started getting this ritual with it. Well, I'd start texting Jamie or whatever, and then I kind of started getting into it and started studying about the different countries where it came from, the different blends, the different types of tobacco, how they grew that tobacco.
Yeah, yeah.
And I always thought it was bullshit, but as you go along, there's a lot of times it just tastes like fucking smoke, you asshole.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of times you're like, oh man.
Yeah, yeah.
There's graham crackers there. There's honey.
That's the thing.
But
the discovery of those things is what's important about it.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter if it is, and it's not. But if it is bullshit, it doesn't matter because what it is for you is an enabler of the process.
Yes, and it was always ritualistic.
Yeah.
If you will. Mm-hmm. In the words of Dusty Rhodes, if you will, baby. It was ritualistic. But yeah, so that's why you go through the process of toasting it and lighting it and doing it the way, because, 45 minutes to an hour, this is going to be perfect. Yeah. I'm never going to have to address any issues with it most of the time. Yeah. Probably 85, 90%.
Yeah. Once you learn that the way, like he's talking about, the way you cut it and the way you light it and that the rate you smoke it is just as important as the cigar itself that you bought to the experience of it, then you start becoming connoisseur and if you got something you got to fuck with all the time, and every now and then I'll hit it to touch it up, and when we're in this format where we're having, we're talking and speaking, sometimes you might have to relight because, you got other shit going on.
You've not paid any attention to it. Yeah. You're not.
But most of the time, like this is the fourth one I've had today. I had one this morning and one at lunch and then two here. But at work, I've got a system and I don't have to relight it. Like he's talking about smoking for 2.5 hours. I bought this big bastard the other day and smoked it for almost 6 hours straight. Now, it was a novelty item and huge, but, it endured and I didn't have to relight it one time. And it's 6 hours worth from 8:50 to whatever, 6 hours.
And a lot of times you just puff it and just get it going. Just keep it stoked. Yeah. Just enough.
Right.
And it's something to keep you busy and looking at. Oh, it's burning perfect.
Cool, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a ritualistic thing. There's a lot of times, a lot of things in the like during the day, there is perfect times in the morning. But you just got that hour of the morning to wake up and get everything gelling and know what you got to fucking do that day and planning your shit out,
Sure.
That thing's just going to be burning. You're just going to have to pay enough attention to it to keep things going, and you have your coffee.
Yeah.
And it's just fucking all's right with the world.
It's like washing the dishes. A lot of times you need something going on in the foreground so that you can get the real thinking done in the background.
Yeah. I suppose if you say so. I don't know what you said.
That'd be that 25 milligrams of Delta 69 or whatever it was. Anyway.
Don't blame it on the dope. Sissy. Hey, man, what about that time you gave me some edibles at Hippie Jack's?
I was thinking about that. Oh, my God.
Oh, shit.
I tried. We were at Hippie Jack's, but we were at one of the... They were called... I don't know what they were called. He built...
Tabernacle or something.
Yeah. Sanctuary.
Sanctuary. That was it. Yeah,
he built,
you're right.
The aforementioned Hippie Jack built a different, smaller indoor venue on his property.
Kind of like, pardon me.
Take it easy there, Roadhog.
All right. Kind of like this, board and batten siding, just a primitive.
Yeah, and they had little PA system in church pews.
Rough sawn oak,
cool.
Yeah.
But he have
really
folks
cool.
Like RB or Daryl Scott or Malcolm Malcolm or Mike
what would his seat?
I don't know.
100 folks, maybe?
Maybe 100.
Maybe.
But, yeah, so anyway.
And he had it all lit by candles.
It was
there
cool.
was no electricity.
bit hot in the summer, but other than this time of year is lovely.
Damn hot.
Yeah.
I seen little orange men bursting into flames hot.
I had these, I think I'd gotten back from Telluride Bluegrass Festival or something, and I had some gummies on hand that were serious business. And I was in the middle of telling Mike how much to eat.
We had some weed, and I knew he had some stuff because he'd come back out west.
These were squares about an inch square.
I was like, Kimbro,
and these were 100 milligrams.
You got any? He goes, yeah. I got us covered. It's totally cool.
Right? Because I was thinking this was going to last us the weekend, this 100 milligram guy.
Okay, and so let me, just for a second, and then it's right back to you.
Oh, go for it.
So he breaks out this bar that looks like a Nestle's, 100,000 grand or a Nestle Crunch.
It had the measurements
it's all, and he goes, just bite off a corner of this and holds me this big thing up.
Because I wanted to share it with more people.
And the corner was one of those blocks. Well, I just snapped the block off, and ate it.
No, you did not. You grabbed the whole thing and looked at me, and I was just
I didn't eat it all. No.
Listen.
Did I really?
Yes, Mike, which is why you clearly don't remember it correctly.
Okay, Daniel.
I'm not mad at you.
No, and I know you're not, and I want you to tell your story, but I swear to goodness, I remember it just taking like the corner of the Nestle Crunch bar.
Oh, man.
And you go, no, you're only supposed to take the thing. And I was like, I'll fucking pay you for it.
No,
I don't know what to do.
I was laughing.
I know.
Because I was like, get ready, spaceman. And I swear, the next time I saw Mike.
So how many milligrams was it?
You ate about 75 milligrams.
Oh, my God.
So I went through some changes.
He came up to me the next day. He's like, what did you do to me? I was like, bro, he did that to you. So I remember, I watched him. It was like a slow motion. He grabbed it home. And I was just like, no. And I was just like, dude, as soon as he ate it, I was like, oh, you're going to have a great night. Oh, it was like, I think I remember like Jay Clark said, have you talked to McGill tonight? I'm like, I have talked to him actually. He's doing well. It was super fun.
Oh, man.
God, it was funny.
Oh, my goodness.
That's right. My friend Ross Holmes, formerly of Cadillac Sky and Bruce Hornsby, and now of the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, was there playing violin with me.
Yeah.
And he and I had eaten the first, half of a corner and shared it. And then Mike came along. I think
I ate the whole candy bar?
Yeah, bro. It was awesome.
Oh, Lord.
I didn't eat the whole candy bar, did I?
You may be conflagrating two different.
No, it's totally fine. I mean,
I know. But I remember this being a grape-flavored gummy that was 100 mil.
Okay.
That's what I
Sure.
Sure.
I went through some changes. I looked at Poe at one point in time, and I was like, listen, I'm getting ready to go through some shit, man.
That's hilarious.
I was like, don't judge me. He's like, you're okay, big guy. It's on the shoulder.
Had you already played?
Oh, thank God, yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, I'd already played. Oh. And then I went and confiscated all the wine that they had.
Is that right?
Left. Yeah, because they'd run out of booze.
Oh.
And beer.
Man.
I was like, fuck, this is getting me through, man. And I got a bunch of their wine, and we went back to the grandma's house at Hippies.
Okay.
And we stayed the night there.
Oh, wow.
And I drank every bottle of that wine. My God, I was fucking...
Yeah, on the moon.
When I pissed, it was glowing. It was like, holy shit.
Yeah, man.
I remember walking around from time to time just going, changes.
You embraced it, man. Because otherwise, Freak Out Town is right around the corner.
Oh, totally. Yeah, no, I had to totally embrace it. But I remember you saying that. I don't remember eating the whole whole bar, but okay, I did.
Yeah. That was awesome. Oh man. Speaking of MD and Hippie Jacks, I remember, MD would make the folk art signs for the festival, like trash recycling, or the river is this way, or here's the stage, or whatever. And he would also decorate his campsite with his signage. And one of them was an ode to Ray Wiley Hubbard that said Snake Farm. And the S in the snake was a snake. And he said, man, he was getting bummed out. And he came up to me and R.B. Morris. And he was lamenting to us. He's like, man, people keep asking me, what is Snake Farm? What is Snake Farm? and I'm like, what are you talking about? He says, look at my sign. I'm like, oh yeah, Snake Farm. He says, yeah, but they don't see the snake. And he said, RB, they keep asking me, man, like, what's Snake Farm? And RB just leaned to him and says, them's the ones get bit. That's the most RB Morris shit I've ever heard. And that made MD's day, man. He didn't care anymore, like that nobody understood his muse, Them's the ones get bit.
RB's great, man.
Hell yeah.
We've gotten together been talking about getting him up here forever. We can't ever coordinate a date, but
RB is the busiest unemployed man I've ever met in my life.
RB and I share so many avenues.
Yeah.
The way we came up.
Yeah, sure.
Where we did.
Now that guy
the bluegrass
is an encyclopedia of East Tennessee country music, by the way. And I don't think a lot of people understand that.
No.
His time spent with Red Rector and all those cats, like he's the real deal on that front. On many fronts. He's a legend.
We have so many similar stories about Cott County.
Oh my God.
Newport, Del Rio,
Yeah, man.
He'd say, so and so, and I was like, yeah,
that's wild.
Bass player, or a banjo picker,
Cool.
But we threatened to have, and we'll get him up here at some point. Pardon me,
it ain't nothing
the hiccups. Yeah. Okay, so Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah.
And Stanley Brothers.
For sure.
And then
Thin Lizzy.
Thin Lizzy. Yeah. Drunk Uncles. And then and then you're with
Drunk Uncles. Yeah.
Barstool Romeos. And then you're in Jerry Douglas. What the hell?
Yeah, man.
How'd that all come about?
Well, when I finished college,
if I may ask,
yeah, sure. Thanks for asking. Flattered to answer it. When I finished my jazz and classical degrees at UT on the double bass, I had always wanted to move to Nashville. When I heard like those sort of third generation virtuoso guys like Edgar Meyer and Bela Fleck and Sam Bush, Jerry Douglas, Tony Rice, my world got flipped right the fuck upside down, because it was again this synthesizing of influences isn't quite the right word, but it was just all these things that I loved. I could hear elements of those, like you said earlier. It was familiar but new.
Yeah, it's the Flight and Scruggs song, but it sounds like this.
Totally. And it was the music genre had gotten to the point where it was time for somebody to play Zappa level shit on this instrument, Eddie Van Halen level shit on a mandolin or on a dobro or on a, you know what I mean? So those cats were what I wanted to go after. And a guy before me in school who also studied upright bass at UT, he was from Cleveland, Tennessee. His name is Todd Parks. And he finished his graduate degree. And he was like, I think I'm going to move to Nashville. We were friends. He helped me register for my first classes on the telephone at UT, And he said, "You're really into that side of the music, and who should I be listening to? I'm going to move in like a year. Who should I be listening to?" And I wrote him out on a yellow steno pad, and I started with this kind of Dr. Ralph and this kind of Flat and Bill Monroe stuff, so that it sets you up for, and I wrote down some Bela records, and I said Strength in Numbers and Newgrass Revival and blah, 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 blah. Because at this point, we Kimbros, my mom and my dad and my two brothers and a couple of other folks, DJ Morrison, who would be another good East Tennessean to have on your conversation.
Okay.
Anyway, we had a family band called Mountain Soul, and we were playing all over, the finest tanning beds in Strawberry Plain, tanning bed salons in Strawberry Plain.
Coming to a parking lot near you.
Exactly. Coming to no shit. Coming to a cakewalk near you in Greene County, Tennessee, in Del Rio. Well, anyway, so I wanted to take that thing because it took me a long time to not hate folk and bluegrass music, right? And then Dad drugged me to Merle Fest my freshman year of high school, and it clicked for me. I saw the Kruger brothers and Gillian Welsh and David Rawlings and Sam Bush and Jerry Douglas and all these cats, and I met Tut Taylor and when I was a kid,
Kruger brothers totally fucked you up.
Oh man, for real. It was a lot
Eddie
of
Van Halen,
neoclassicals, Jens Kruger compositions.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Todd was going to move, and I gave him these recommendations, and he called me. I don't know, let's say a year or two or three. I don't remember. I was still in college. He had been in Nashville. He says, "Man, I have an audition tomorrow with one of the guys you wrote down." I was like, "Oh, cool. Who is it?" And he said, "Jerry Douglas." I was like, "Holy shit, are you serious? That guy is a melodic guru.
He's won more Grammys than anybody."
Yeah. And so Todd got the gig and was with him for a long time, including this whole stint they did opening for Paul Simon for an entire summer.
Oh, wow.
Stadiums,
Yeah.
And Todd would be calling me all the time. And I was like, "Man, you have my dream gig, dude. That's incredible." Well, fast forward, and Jerry is now for a touring season in Elvis Costello's bluegrass band he put together with Dennis Crouch on bass and Stuart Duncan on guitar and Jim Lauderdale on rhythm guitar. Funny story about that. I'll tell you later. Well, I'll tell you now.
You should.
The front of house guy, Milo, front of house guy for Elvis Costello. He was an English cat, and I made friends with him because I was into the nerdy side, and I would go out. I was touring with the Lovell Sisters. I auditioned for this band right after college, and I got the gig. And they were like a Nickel Creeky kind of Alison Krausse kind of band. These three sisters from Calhoun, Georgia, who formed a sisters harmony. One played mandolin, one played dobro, and so was a Jerry fan. And one played fiddle, and they all sang, and they were incredible. I mean, they were all like 16, 17, 18, and they were nuts good. And Todd called me knowing that I was about to graduate. I graduated in winter term. And I went and auditioned for them like days after I finished school, and I got the gig. I had a road gig, and we were going up to do showcases at one of the conferences in New York City where people get together and
New York City,
just like the Pace Picante sauce. Anyway, Elvis Costello liked the Lovell Sisters, and he had his bluegrass thing, and he flew us out to open for him. And I had met Jerry previously through Todd, and Jerry came up to me and said, "You're Daniel, right?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "You're Todd's friend, my bass player." I said, "Yeah, we went to college together, man." I said, "I'm a big fan. I met you in Canada." I remember. He said, "Dude, you just played the shit out of that with him. I was listening to your bass playing the whole night, and I really liked it." And that to me was just like,
yeah.
Could you write that down so that on my arm so I can tattoo on top of it? Jerry was one of on my Mount Rushmore musically. Yeah, but hardly instant. I mean, it's taken years to get to that point of proficiency and not being afraid. And so that was at Chateau Saint Michel outside of Seattle. Years later, he had gone through different iterations of his band. Todd Parks was now playing with the Sam Bush Band, and Victor Krause was playing in Jerry's trio. It was Jerry and Victor Krause and Omar Hakim, who had been on all these Sting records that my mom put on for me and check out this drummer and blah, blah, blah. And so Vic couldn't make a gig. And Jerry is one of these cats who is also an accompanist primarily, right? Like he is one of the most recorded accompanists in Nashville history. I don't know how many thousands of records he's been on. And so,
in all actuality, that's what he is.
100%.
Yeah.
So, and his career has transcended the Country Gentlemen and the Whites and J.D. Crowe and the New South and even the Jerry Douglas Band. And he has now worked with Halsey and Paul Simon and Eric Clapton and you name it. So,
he's the Paul Schaefer of the dobro.
He's the Paul Schaefer of the dobro.
Yeah.
So he called, well, actually his manager called me because he was on vacation. Said, hey, my name is Andrew. I'm Jerry Douglas's manager. I got your number from Todd Parks. Jerry specifically asked me to get in touch with you. He's on vacation and apologizes for not calling. Can you do a gig in Boston with him next month? It's on this date. And I was like, yeah. And then I didn't hear anything for like 2.5 weeks. And I thought, well, it's not happening, you know? And then he called and he was like, hey, it's happening. Sorry, I've been out of touch. I've been really busy. I said, cool. And then like 2 days, 3 days later, whatever, I'm probably misremembering this, but there was no audition. Drove to Nashville, went to his little studio above his garage, which is killer. And it was me and his drummer, Doug Belote from New Orleans, and Casey Dreesen, another one of my like, holy
fiddle
shit.
Player,
fiddle player, incredible fiddle player.
Yeah.
And me. And we rehearsed for like an hour and we ate a bunch of his wife Jill's awesome cooking. And then we flew to Boston the next day. And my first gig with Jerry was in front of Daryl Anger and Edgar Meyer and his wife Connie and Sarah Jarose and all these just killers. And it was just like, okay, I have to do this and I have to sound good. And Vic Krause could do fewer and fewer gigs because he was getting busy with Lyle Lovett again. And I just kept doing more and more gigs. And that's how it happened.
But there you are in front of the who's who.
Yeah. And Jerry, I've sort of my Mount Rushmore acoustic guys. Totally.
The who's who of your who.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. You're starting to sound like Dr. Seuss, but yes.
Well, that's the way that goes.
But anyway, that's how that all came about.
Yeah,
Apologies for
just
being
agree.
long-winded, but
go on with it.
But it's cool now because I see Todd all the time at music festivals and Clint Mulligan and different East Tennessee based cats, as it were, and then with Jerry through him, I've gotten gigs like over in Ireland and Scotland with the Transatlantic Sessions.
Yeah,
just because I've been a person for him who can learn things quickly and be ready to go in a short amount of time. It's the exact same thing that I did with you, or
you can answer the call.
I say yes without knowing what the fuck I'm going to do once I get there. But
you can answer
for some
the
reason
call.
I continue to fail upwards. I hope that doesn't sound arrogant, but
no,
it's like,
it doesn't at all. You continue to answer the call.
That's right. And I want to help people make the sounds that are in their head come out of their fingers. And that's what I try to do for everybody. And so that's how that came about. Are you all right there? Are you going to talk? Okay, ladies and gentlemen of the listening audience, I am now being relit by Mike McGill. He's rotating it for the international crowd. He's rotating it anti-clockwise. There are 3 plumes of blue flame powered by, is it propane? What do they use in those little guys?
Butane.
Butane, that's the one. Butane. Thank you. Thank you, Mike. The other end. I just did.
Yeah.
Very hot, Mike, in my face. My mustache is now on fire.
Your mustache is safe. It looks like a boot brush. It'll be fine.
Thank you. Yeah, man.
You need to get you one of these Augustus McCrae Stetsons.
I probably do.
You look good in that with that big mustache of yours. I'm just telling you.
And so
I've seen lots of Westerns.
I know. Yeah, and then like I got to know Barry Bales a little bit, who lives in Greenville and has Bales Farms, and he's One also all
tremendous bass player for anyone that doesn't know.
The tone and the feel that Barry brings to any gig, and the authenticity is just unreal. And he had such a rich musical bluegrass background growing up in this area also. And with Jerry and Barry's blessing, I took over the Earls of Leicester gig. I guess that was 2017 or 18 because I subbed a couple because he had Alison Krauss gigs. And so, I'm making a living being no one's number one choice, and I'm okay with that. So, yeah, but it's led me to some really cool places.
But you were also very, very humble with that because I have seen several things that Jerry has posted of giving you your admiration and your just due because you're the number one guy.
Well, that means a lot.
It's not like a Chinese menu, but you're number one guy.
Number one guy.
Thanks, man. It means a lot.
But I've seen that.
You say that.
Well, I've seen that.
Let alone hearing or seeing Jerry write something like that. Jerry's become a good friend, and it's cool. He knows he's on my Mount Rushmore. I've told him as much, but he also knows that he's my friend. So.
Here's the deal, Kimbro. As the great Buck Owens said, it takes people like you to make people like me. Okay?
Fine, man.
And it's just not about you and me, but you study up, you answer the call, you do the gig, and people like you.
Thanks.
I don't understand that latter part, but that's the way that goes.
Not everyone does.
So
that's okay. You can't be all things to all music, and you can't be all things to all people. So
well, fine. Yeah. You'd never get paid if you were that.
I definitely learned a lot. Acoustic bluegrass sort of derived folky music.
Yeah.
It's unamplified music at times, and that there's a lack of safety net to that, I think, that you become comfortable with. And so you're probably not going to know all the songs on a gig. You're probably going to confuse Wheelhouse with Lee Highway Blues. The old joke, how do all the fiddle tunes or how do all the banjo tunes, or how do you tell all the banjo tunes apart by their names? It's like there's a lot of similar sounds in there.
Sure, yeah.
But you become okay with knowing that people are going to see you make mistakes. And so
you hear and you feel it.
That's right. And so that has become a bit of my mantra and saying yes when the phone rings. If I can do it, I do it. And if I can't do it, I don't do it.
Yeah.
And I have definitely adjusted what my parameters of can and can't
one of the best bass players I ever heard play throughout the years. And this is going to be total sacrilege, and it's not going to have any meaning of anything. But Jack Cook.
Okay. Yeah.
With the Stanley Brothers. Mm-hmm. Didn't matter if he hit a fucking right note or not.
I know. It was the
time. It was the feel. It was the swing. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Totally.
There's a lot you can surpass so many of those.
Yeah.
Like Tony Rice.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, Tony, obviously, good God Almighty, was totally great and so proficient in so many ways and transcended things in so many ways.
Yeah.
But then you go back and you listen to like Reno and Smiley and you hear Don Reno play fucking rhythm guitar.
Yeah.
You're just like fuck Tony Rice. Okay.
Well, one can't happen without the other happening before.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm going on with this, but like you take somebody who was a stylist and just a complete stylist as a singer, but more so that didn't get any credit for it on the guitar end was like with Larry Sparks.
Oh God, Larry is a beast.
Jesus Christ, he's a James Brown on bluegrass.
Oh man,
that's what he is.
Yes, He still is, by the way.
Yes.
Yes.
But you know what I mean?
I do.
So all those things.
You know what's really cool about that?
Are so different, but mirror each other.
That's right.
And everybody's got.
Well, it's that thing you said earlier. It's that you hear the familiar thing in there, but it's new. And the idea is that it renders and it distills over the generations. And you know, like you can't have Darryl Strawberry without Babe Ruth, to belabor the baseball analogy, you know, but Babe couldn't play in today's game. And it's just the way that it goes. Bass playing has been that way. You know, you listen to what was considered a virtuosic performance from Milt Hinton in the 50s, and now cats are doing things that they're expanding upon what Edgar Meyer has done with the bow, with the instrument, improvising on fiddle tunes with the double bass. It's insane.
Dude, all you got to do is go back and listen to James Jamerson play Ain't Too Proud to Beg.
That's true.
The opening bass line. And it goes along right with what you're saying.
Yeah.
Is why.
No, absolutely it does.
Yeah.
What was really cool, you mentioned Larry Sparks, and it's all tying this all together. It's like, I think it was last year maybe, we went and did it's actually called the Podunk Bluegrass Festival. And the Jerry Douglas Band played right after Larry Sparks played. And Jerry went and sat in with Larry, and Jerry lit up when he saw Larry. It was like Jerry was a kid again in Ohio.
Course.
Because Larry Sparks is
Larry
still the
fucking
shit.
Sparks.
And
man.
He's crushing it.
Yeah.
And I love that. Like,
He's playing it on the low string.
I like seeing my heroes see their heroes.
Yeah.
What that does is it takes you back to that wonder time when you popped the Van Halen record in your Magnavox for the first time. And that's what we're all going for, man. We want that elemental response to the art. And if you can get that, just all you live for is, whether you're on stage or you're in front of the stage watching it, all you live for is that transportation of that time and place.
Absolutely.
You know, and it's cool to see that occur with your heroes.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, Sparks is just such a jewel, man. I mean,
yeah, like Dale,
he's so unique.
Yeah, he is.
Dale, okay, so I don't know if I ever told you this story. I probably did at Jimmy's one night drunk or whatever. And we remember, you remember, none of us remember. But I remember talking to Dale one night over in Cherokee. And I said, man, I want to learn how to play like rhythm like you and Sparks and Red Smiley and Jimmy Martin, you know. And he goes, I said, what's the secret? You know, and I had his D18 on me.
One context question. How old were you when you were asking this question?
I was probably 28, maybe.
Got it.
26. Somewhere right around there. Mid-20s. Probably 26. No, I was older than that.
You're very much on the hunt for it, though.
28.
Yeah.
28.
I got you.
Yeah, very much on the hunt. I couldn't figure it out.
Sure.
I couldn't, because I was a singer.
Yeah. Okay.
I consider myself much more a singer than I do anything else. You know, but when it comes down to that real deal and that traditional thing, I can fucking knock your eyes out with some rhythm guitar. Ain't nobody no better. I did it 200 dates a year, you know, for so long, and studied it. I mean, not just, I don't say that braggadociously. I mean, I studied it.
Yeah, you put time in.
Yeah, absolutely.
But was that what Dale said to you? Like,
here's what Dale said to me. I said, what's the secret? And Dale goes, well, if y'all can't see me at home, he's blinking. When you want them to hear that guitar, you just put it in there, and then when you don't, you bring it out of there and fill the hole and do what you're supposed to do. Now, to anyone else that just got the tip of a lifetime, you know, they may or may not understood it, but I got it. I was just like, oh, really? It's that easy? That's all I got to do?
Yeah.
I can hit down note. I can hit the Charlie Monroe. Doom, 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 doom.
Yeah.
I don't have to flutter and walk stuff and do all that. And just pick and choose my chances and where I'm going to go.
What Dale was talking about
and do my strengths.
Being intentional about what your strengths are.
Exactly. Exactly.
He's talking about be deliberate with everything that you do.
When you want them to hear it, you let them hear it.
That's right. Yeah.
And when you don't, you fill up the holes. Yeah. And it helped me so much. Yeah. I knew at that point.
Be your own accompanist, not just the guy playing guitar.
Okay, yeah, I got it. Yeah. I got it.
Be your own accompanist.
Yes.
Accompany yourself with the grace that someone who cared about your lyrics would.
Absolutely.
Something that we need to hear from other people sometimes. Yeah, it's important.
Yeah. And when you're trying to take that into a full band situation, it gets a little bit confusing because you finally realize I can't play the same way I do solo as I do with a band. You know, it's got to be different. Yeah. And here's where it's going to work. And again, back to his advice, the intentions of where you got to do your thing, you know? And it totally fucking helped me.
But I like how he said
beyond belief.
Hear it because it puts you in the, for lack of a better term, in the producer role. But you're producing live. You know, it's like, oh, wait, I can be my own producer while I'm playing solo. I can be my own producer while I'm playing with a band. When do I want to hear it? When would I want to hear it?
And the coal was cracking timber like a whip from a 44. Doom, 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 doom.
Yeah.
And I know that's a really elementary way to explain that, but that's where. Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah.
While you're playing.
Well, and it also gave me a little bit of confidence of knowing that what I was doing was right and what I was supposed to be doing during that time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't know. It was just, you just let them hear it when you want them to hear it, and then you back out and fill the hole.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, I got it. But man, I was in the campground over there at Cherokee that night and had that old D18 of Dale's.
Yeah.
And you could see fucking daylight through the back of it. And you hit the E chord on it, and it would part your fucking hair.
Yeah.
Tremendous.
Yeah.
Tremendous. But I think that's also like when I do solo shows, I treat my guitar like that when I sing. It's just enough for me to, to deliver what I want it to deliver as far as the words go. And you put it in there and you take it out, you know? And it's nothing magical. It's nothing fancy.
Yeah.
But there's certain things, and when it hits, it's just like, fuck, that was supposed to be there.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be that way,
Yeah, the goal, I think, for all of us is to get to the place where you don't, like with chess, you don't just play the first move that comes to mind. You need to make sure that it's going to work. Or with fishing, with fly fishing especially, you need to make sure that you're casting where you intend to cast. And the intent is practiced more than the actual technique or the lick or the chord or the lyric or whatever. The intent is practiced so that it becomes the consideration is built into the performance. Because then it's not just that you're playing and you've done it enough times. It is you are actively creating a whole sound,
it's
that you have in your head.
It's leading you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's leading.
But it's an active process as opposed to a passive one. And that doesn't mean that it's busy or chops heavy or constant. But it means that your activity mentally is constant.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the masters do.
It means you're in control.
Yeah.
That's what it means.
Well, you said when you were talking about producing, you've mixed a lot of stuff. I've mixed a lot of stuff. If I get something that sounds like you get this bass tone exactly right, I solo it and everything's out, and I bring it into the mix. It sounds like shit.
Yeah,
because you're it's
sounds good in a vacuum doesn't mean it sounds good with everything else.
Exactly.
Yeah,
right,
totally, man. I think the best players try to anticipate that with their choices. And that doesn't mean that it's simple. You talked about Jack Cook. That dude was walking bass a lot. And
he was singing that high baritone part.
He's doing a lot.
Everything.
But the bass playing was not necessarily your simple 1-5 bass.
No, totally
and
not.
And the same with Jake Tulloch with Flat and Scruggs. Like, that's busy, complex bass parts in a lot of ways.
But the thing with Jack Cook was, to me, it was the timing.
Sure.
Of that rhythmic
absolutely
shit that the Stanley brothers had that Monroe didn't, that Flat and Scruggs didn't.
Yeah.
That's what made them different.
I think if you interviewed them or asked them what their mindset was, they would probably be very dismissive. And
it didn't matter if you hit something a half a note flat.
Sure.
As long as it was in time.
I think that they were a lot more deliberate than they let on. They don't want to be seen as pretentious, but I think that they were very, very deliberate.
Yeah.
And I think Dale is too. I think Jerry is. And that's the kind of person that I'm trying to be musically.
Well, I think all those guys are.
Me too.
In some shape, form, or fashion. And why wouldn't we want to be that?
That's right. Life is short. Like, be deliberate.
Why wouldn't you want to be deliberate?
Yeah.
Or something that was just knowing something was worthwhile.
Yes.
Man, am I just spinning my gears?
And we all ebb and flow, right? You have good nights, you have bad nights. You have days whenever you're able to be deliberate, and days when you're like, nothing I'm doing is working. Why do I even do this? And just that's the lament of the creative, But what are you going to do? Quit? Like, that's just not what we do. I don't know.
Well, artists make lousy slaves, so you can't do that.
That's true.
Well, thanks so much,
dude. Absolutely, it was really fun.
Our guest.
It's good to catch up with you, Jamie. We haven't seen each other in a while.
Our guest this week, Daniel Kimbro.
Hey.
It's been a big supporter of me and my music for many years, and an even better friend. So,
thanks, man.
Thank you, buddy.
You're very welcome. Thank you for
glad you're here,
reciprocating,
and you can come back.
I'd love to, and
you should.
Thanks for the cigar.
We'll watch. Really. Got the ball games here.
Yeah, man.
We can do whatever we need to do.
Come watch a Braves game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? We should see if there's a baseball game on right now. But at any rate, Jamie, you want to do one more?
Absolutely. I'm going to do another one.
Do another one?
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thanks for sticking around with us. Our good friend Daniel Kimbro we may split this up in 2 episodes. We may not.
Whatever.
We may do whatever the fuck we want to do.
You might listen back and set it on fire.
And you might like it, or you might, you might not. So, cheers.
Cheers.
One more for the good guys.
You either is or you ain't. You do or you don't. You can or you can't. Or you will or you won't. Either way, baby, a good man, well, he's hard to find.